Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. And speaking of being here, I got Bean here. If you hear him meowing in the background, that's Mr. Bean to you. It's week 2 without coffee with Scott Adams. So let's grab one of these and let's perform an honorary simultaneous sip. If you'd like to participate, all you need is a cup or a mug or a glass, a tankard, chalice or stein, a canteen, jug or flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill it with your favorite liquid. I like coffee, and join me now for the unparalleled pleasure, the dopamine hit of the day, the thing that makes everything better. It's called the simultaneous sip, and it happens now. Go. That's good coffee. How's everybody? You doing pretty good out there? You're doing pretty good? Mighty Trash Pandas in our Rumble chat? It is striking that the two people in Minneapolis who did things that caused their demise, their names are pretty good, but the results are pretty bad. Completely unnecessary, things that did not need to happen, things that shouldn't be happening, things that the Democrats should not be encouraging people to do. There's been a massive security breach, 40 million unvetted illegal aliens brought in during the third Obama term with Joe Biden as the puppet. And now it's a massive security breach. It's a nightclub. All the lights come on. Everybody is evacuated out of the building, and you got to recheck in at the front door. You don't want bouncers breaking kneecaps or smashing faces into the walls. You don't want broken arms and ruptured spleens, but you do want to restore law and order. You do want to restore a secure perimeter. Turns out somebody at the back of the nightclub propped the door open, and you had a whole bunch of underage people come in. You had people come in with fentanyl, and they're distributing it, selling it, and people are overdosing. You got dirtbags with known criminal records on your list of do not serve these people. People who have been banned from your city, all the neighboring bars and nightclubs. If you've caused problems at the other nightclubs, or you've caused a problem there before, you didn't pay your tab, you got into a fight, you're not welcome back. You check your ID to find out, is the person in front of me banned from this club? Are they a kid abuser? Are they a woman abuser? Have they done a variety of things? Have they been convicted of criminal activity? And you go, you know what? I don't want to roll the dice with that person. And you have every right to do so. Every college has admission standards. Every sports franchise has minimum requirements to sign as a free agent or to get drafted to the team. You do your due diligence, the best that you can. 40 million illegal alien invaders. Kamala Harris, the border czar. Yeah, good work, Kamala. Yeah, let's go ahead and use heavy machinery to lift the razor wire so millions of unvetted people, sleeper cells, Manchurian candidates, army assets, military assets from other countries, from China, from Russia, from throw a dart. It doesn't matter where you're coming from. If you don't know who they are, you got to go. If you didn't go through the front door, you got to get the hell out. You don't want to see anybody roughed up in the process. But when the people that broke in are blowing whistles and getting in your face and throwing ice, frozen bottles of water, bricks. You could just call it a brick. It's just water. No, it's a brick. It's your tactic because you think you're slick. You're not slick. Hey, slick, you ain't slick. We know what you're doing. You're impeding into a federal investigation. So now you got a bunch of people that broke into the club and people that were in the club. Now they're getting in between the bouncers and what they're doing to get people evacuated out the side door so that you could get everybody rechecked. Has it ever been a good idea to fight a bouncer? Has it ever been wise? Have you ever encouraged anyone, hey, you should probably get yourself in between a bouncer and the job that he's doing? No, not a good idea. That Renee Good shouldn't have been there. The wife, girlfriend, whatever her relationship is, Drive, baby, drive. And then later heard saying, it's all my fault. It's my fault. I shouldn't have brought her here. You should not have brought her there. You should not have been driving around and blocking traffic. You have no right to do these things. If you insist on being around and you must film for some reason, you don't block the road. You don't blow whistles to alert the bad guys. Hey, they're coming. They're coming. They're coming. They're in the way. They're right here. Get away. Run. Why would you protect people that aren't supposed to be here? Why would you protect people that snuck into this nightclub? Why are you defending those people instead of the community? Why would you do that? Completely unnecessary, completely preventable, 100% preventable. So now there's two. How many more before the Democrats stop their shit? How many more before they cut the crap and stop impeding in federal investigations? Well, tell them Tom Homan is being dispatched to Minneapolis now. We're several weeks overdue for the Insurrection Act, in the opinion of many people, because this is an active insurrection against the United States of America. During the tyrannical COVID period, millions of people fled the blue city tyranny of Democrats. You can't travel. You can't be on your front porch. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't be outside. You can't be at the beach. You can't be at a park. You can't do anything unless we say so. Screw you. We're leaving your blue city hellhole. So they hemorrhaged population. So what did they do? They opened the borders and they flooded it. During a time when they were saying, you must inject this, you must wear this ineffective mask, or else you can't participate in society. Here's your mark of the beast. If you take this, you're allowed to exist. But they lost a whole bunch of people. Lost a bunch of people. And so they flooded this country with criminal illegal aliens and a whole bunch of other illegal aliens, which makes them criminally here, not here legally. Not assimilating, learning English, staying off of welfare, contributing, their hand up, regular check-ins. No, they snuck in. Abusing the system, finding ways and loopholes around. Some places giving you driver's license. Some places making it illegal to check your voter eligibility when you cast votes for things. Giving mail-in ballots to anybody with a name. So if you have these ghost people, you can generate a ballot, and guess what? You can collect a ballot and you can flip cities, you can flip states, you can flip the United States of America, and that's what a lot of people say happened in 2020. We're still unpacking that. On the world stage in Davos, President Trump said, well, I got a story on that. Did he say arrests are coming? I forget the exact vernacular, but I think he sort of let it slip that something big's about to happen. Is it? Because for 6 years, Americans have been told, hey, trust the plan. There's a plan. It's like 5-dimensional chess, or like 55-dimensional chess. It's like they caught them all. So like, just sit back and relax and trust a plan. Trust a plan. That's not happening. Well, Anna Paulina Luna in Congress is going, nope, we're not passing another thing until you pass the SAVE Act. Not a single thing. Not a single thing. Line in the sand. Shut it down. If you don't restore sanity in our voting system, our country is gone. We are teetering on the edge. We are barely hanging on by a thread. So you're damn right. The people that snuck in need to leave. And they've been told for a year. Use the CBP One app. Oh, CBP One. Yes. One app will unite them all. One ring will unite them all. Well, the CBP One app has been transformed into CBP Home. They've all received messages. If you're in this country illegally, it's time to catch a flight. We'll pay for it. We'll give you $1,000. I think it's $2,600 now to go back home, and you can reapply. No promises, but you can reapply to come here the legal way, to assimilate, not form an enclave, to become an American and understand what the civil liberties and Bill of Rights are all about. Not to bring your third world shithole ideology here. Oh, I can't believe you're talking about those people that way. What people? There's shitholes on every continent. The people who are opposing America right now, MAGA, Republicans, they'll use any slander, any framing they can use. Everything imaginable. ESPN made a front page story about some lady basketballer held up a sign that says abolish ICE. What, I ask you this, what is the end game? What is the end game with ICE? Tell me. What is your end game? So let's play this out. If you can get in the faces of ICE agents, and if you can impede the investigations by blocking the roadways, hurling items at ICE, injuring them, alerting the bad guys that they're going to get them, which is making the bad guys at a much higher risk of injury, making ICE agents a lot more likely to suffer some sort of injury, and every bystander in every community more likely to suffer because of your dipshit actions. If, as one Minneapolis or Minnesota political air quote leader said, that you got to sacrifice your body for this. Oh, you do? You do. Yeah. Yeah. No, she's not sacrificing herself. She's encouraging you to do some dumb fuckery. She wants to see you in a body bag because then that could get plastered all over the news. And then you could whip up some anti-ICE sentiment, anti-Trump sentiment, anti-MAGA sentiment, anti-America sentiment, anti-border sentiment, anti-common sense sentiment. We need a martyr, they say. Well, they had St. George Floyd in 2020 to burn our fucking country down. That's what they did. That's what they did. The whole summer of love, as they called it. Oh, peace, love, and mostly peaceful, but fiery protests as the buildings are burning behind them. Homicide after homicide after homicide after homicide. Billions of dollars, I believe it was billions of dollars in damage during the St. George Floyd riots, pushed by the Democrats, egged on by the Democrats because they needed some momentum. They needed something because nobody likes them. They're polling at about 17%. 1 in 5. I think that's far too high. The Minnesota Freedom Fund, remember that? Didn't Kamala Harris participate in encouraging people to donate to the Minnesota Freedom Fund so that we can bail out, so that we can free our domestic terrorists, or Democrat supporters, or deep state supporters, or traitors? Give us money so we can bail out the bad guys because we need them to stay out on the streets causing havoc. Kamala Harris, Minnesota Freedom Fund. You know, everything that was in the news a couple weeks ago was about Tim Walz, Jacob Frey, the Somali fraudsters, the pirates. $19 billion. By the way, the number's way bigger than that, and it's way bigger than one city. You wonder, how in the world did the U.S. rack up $38 trillion in debt? I'll bet you the nonprofit organizations out there, the non-governmental organizations out there, you know, the ones that feast at the government teat, taking money from you to reroute and filter into radical organizations that foment terrorism across the country. And now they're found out. All eyes were on Minneapolis, but now it's Renee Good. Now it's anti-ICE sentiment. Oh, we got to be anti-ICE now. Oh, you do? The lady basketballer on the front page of ESPN, ABC, Disney today. Lady basketballer holding up a sign. Abolish ICE, I believe is what it said. Abolish ICE. No, we are not ceding America's borders. We're not ceding sovereignty to a globalist regime that says, there's no such thing as borders. You can't control the people in your nightclub. It's just, they come and they go. You know, there's a lot of good people there. Who are you? Well, you can't just come and ask everybody to see their ID. That's unconstitutional. We have a massive security breach. This is a time of war. Many people say, a lot of people say, that in 2020, a official coup happened, an act of war to steal our government, to then weaponize it against us, Americans. And so either you're on Team America or you're from parts unknown with criminal history unknown. And maybe you're getting paid off with a little bit of free money to be on our team. Occasionally, we're going to ask you to go out there in the streets. Occasionally, we're going to ask you to go out there. We'll have a few requests, but come on in. Your unlimited magic debit cards they talked about in the Bronx when we were there filming at the Trump rally in the 2024 election. Magic debit cards that never run out of cash. Soros and Democrats and globalists and CCP, and go down the list of funding mechanisms. Selling out your country for 40 pieces of silver. How many nonprofit organizations, non-governmental organizations claim to be patriots? But they're not. They're not at all. Do they feel high and mighty about their actions? I think a lot of them do. Are they actively detrimental to the sovereignty of the United States of America? You're damn right some of them are. Damn right some of them are. The people encouraging these foot soldiers to get in the face of ICE, blowing whistles to alert the communities, we're going to show you people in the medical industry that have said if they find out, if they're going to research their patients, and if they find out they're MAGA or Trump supporters, they're not going to administer care. Medical professionals speaking out loud hopes that Carolyn Leavitt suffers a massive catastrophic medical event with her pregnancy. They're fucking satanic sociopaths. No, not all of them. Just the ones that I'm talking about. You know who you are. How do you feel in your heart? Were you kind of happy that Charlie Kirk got what was coming to him? Are you a little pissed that they missed Trump? Huh? If so, I'm talking to you. You, motherfucker, you. Maybe you pretend that you're not that way, but you feel it in your heart. You've eaten up all of the poison from MSNBC and CNN and your moronic friends. The lying legacy media, all of the schooling / indoctrination you could get. Yum, 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 yum. Deep state good. Common sense bad. Orange man bad. Blah, 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 blah. Eat it up. It'll make you sick. The Democrats need this because they have no hope. They have no support. 17%, 18%, 20%. All of this was predictable, unfortunate, unnecessary, ridiculous, ill-advised, very predictable. What is the end game? You're biting the fucking fingers off of ICE agents. Do you think you're the good guys? Really? You're attacking hotels because you think certain people are there. You're attacking people because they're driving a car that you think might be affiliated with ICE. Are you fucking madmen? Are you out of your goddamned minds? I think you are. I think a lot of you are. I think a lot of you have been brainwashed. You've suffered massive brain damage at the hands of these deep state Democrats. They are using you. They're manipulating you. Trust me, they're laughing at you. They don't care about you. They're eating their steak. They're cheersing their martinis. They're laughing. They're running the news cycle. They're getting the desired result. Another sacrifice at the altar of Moloch, at the altar of their Satan. They're laughing. How many millions of Planned Parenthood fetuses do they laugh about while on hidden camera bragging about getting a big bonus check Was it a Lamborghini that lady said she won with her bonuses for delivering the right amount of aborted fetuses? What is your 40 pieces of silver? Is it a 6-figure salary? Is it a big bonus? Is it some prestige and some airtime on a lying legacy network broadcast? What is it? What gets you off? What is your, in Devil's Advocate, Pacino? He's like, vanity. Right at the end, he hooks Keanu Reeves one more time with vanity. Vanity. Ah. After they offer to do an article in the newspaper to make their son of Satan, Keanu Reeves' character. All right, I'll do an interview. Well, I am pretty good at life. I would like to. Got him with vanity. What is this all about? Because let me say, I don't want to see any more violence. I do want to see the removal of the illegal aliens from America. You've had the messages on your CBP One app telling you, here's what you do to stay legal. If you choose to ignore that, what am I supposed to do about your continued actions? The actions that brought you here illegally in the first place, and the actions of you continuing to refuse to go do things the right way. You've been told to leave. You're not here legally. Go ahead and use the CBP Home app. We'll buy you a flight. I think it was $1,000. Now it's $2,600. We can check the stats if that's a little inaccurate, but I believe it was $1,000. Now $2,600. Florida, Texas, other normal states, they're not having problems with ICE like this, and they're probably getting some support. If there's somebody in the criminal justice system at the jails, they're handing them over so they can get the hell out of this country. Not Minneapolis, right? Or I think, as my guest last week said, no, that's not happening. According to what? I believe that's exactly happening. And that's one of the biggest concerns. If you were actively working hand in hand with ICE, instead of, I don't know, driving toward a hotel attack because ICE might be sleeping there, because JD Vance might be there, disrupting a restaurant, committing active terroristic actions, and then you just turn your car around because you're refusing to help ICE. You've sided with the mob. You've lost your mind. So that story happened over the weekend. And there's other stories as well. So let's unpack it here on the TNAM Daily Show. I did the honorary open, but let me do the TNAM Daily Show open. And then we'll get to your comments, and we'll start unpacking the news of the day. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion Spiral Arm of the Milky Way Galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of Minneapolis, to be pseudo-specific. My name is Brian Engelman. Today is Monday, January 26, 2026. And this right here, the thing that you have found today, well, it's called the TNAM Daily Show. TNAM stands for the New American Media, because the old American media has failed you. So buckle up, hit the thumbs up button real quick. Everyone stop and hit the thumbs up button, hit the like button. Share the show with a friend. Copy the share link, text it, put it out on X, put it out on Facebook, send it out on whatever you use. You got a couple smart friends in your life, invite some people. It's time to grow this show. And join us while we rifle through the rubbish, separating fake news from fact. Trying to approach the daily events with sanity, with resolve, with ideas, with suggestions, with love, with decency, with justice, and with an eye toward the future, a future that could be described by Scott Adams and others as the golden era. That's what I want to usher in. I think you do too. That's why you found us today. So Buckle up, the TNAM Daily Show starts now.
Your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
All right. We have merch. If you want a mug, the New American Media, they're black and white and red all over, just like the newspaper used to be. Shoot me a Venmo, $40. It'll include $10 of shipping and handling anywhere in the continental United States. Thank you to John for making a batch of these. I want them all to go to our regular viewers. I want you to be a part of our, well, you can't say mug club because I wouldn't want to hone in on the Steven Crowder thing. But yeah, it's a mug club. I mean, but you know what he ain't got? He doesn't have coasters. Look at this. Set your drink on some coasters. We do a sports show. And by the way, we might be doing the Unhappy Hour today. We have a show called Strictly Football on the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. That's myself, Mike Barra, Jim Mitchell, Ezrael Robinson, Jim Mitchell, and Mike Barra. Yeah, we do the Unhappy Hour. It's Strictly Football on the Unhappy Hour Sports Show here on the New American Media. Jim Mitchell and Mike Barra are Seahawks fans, and they are celebrating. The Seahawks have advanced to the Super Bowl. The Denver Broncos have advanced to the Super Bowl. So I think we're aiming to do the show today. I think we said in the afternoon. We'll see if we can do it. If not, we'll go tomorrow. But stay tuned live. But if you want some merch, these are $30 a piece. There's 4 thick Ohio-made, American-made wooden coasters for the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. $30 for this one, shaped in the state of Ohio, or a pin that would be $25. So if you want 2 sets of coasters, they're $50. If you want the pin, they're $25. 1 set of coasters is $30. That includes shipping. So shoot me a Venmo along with your address and what you want, and I will mail one of these out to you. I want to thank the person that I don't know where it came from, don't know who you are. I've checked. I don't see a message, so it doesn't appear to be a merch request. But if your initials are MN, it's a 4-syllable word, 4-syllable name, MN, $100 donation. Thank you so much. We've been out at events, and people have taken a $100 bill and put it into our pocket and said, keep doing what you're doing. I said, well, thank you. You know, I didn't say, well, that doesn't even cover a third of the gas it took me to drive to this event, let alone the hotels and then all the out of pocket. It's like, yeah, we love the support. We just need more of it. You know, $5,000 a month, all sources combined could probably fund the operations over here. But every one of you who has done anything, like really the tiniest amount, a reoccurring $5, $10 monthly subscription, thank you so much. Thank you to every one of you. Super appreciated. But I don't know who this person is. MN, I don't want to say their name out loud because maybe they wanted to donate privately, but $100 just came in on PayPal. Oh, let me put it up on the screen here. We have our donation links. This is me just standing outside playing the guitar, talking about the stories in the news, trying to discuss what's happening, trying to make sense of it. I have my guitar case open. If any of you like what's going on, consider tossing something into the guitar case. And here is the guitar case. Let me put it up on the screen. You are watching the TNAM Daily Show. Consider subscribing on Patreon. At least do the free subscription. Free subscription, you're linked up with Patreon. If the whole world goes haywire and they'll still let us, we'll broadcast on Patreon. I know Google, YouTube silenced us. Facebook, Instagram, Meta silenced us. X silenced us when it was Twitter. You can never really rely on any one place to disseminate your information. So we do a scattershot in a lot of places. So please sign up for at least our free version, or consider doing the $10 monthly, $100 monthly, or $1,000 monthly Patreon. At least then we get the building blocks. We know, oh, okay, X amount is coming in on the 1st of the month, on the 27th of the month, whatever. I think it's a few days after the 1st, maybe it's the 4th it processes. But that just shoots over into the business account, and that helps pay for the internet. It pays for the computer that I had several $1,000s to upgrade so that this could process live streaming across all these channels. The ring lights that you're looking at, the microphone. I've tried a few microphones, but it seems like this microphone does a decent job. Actually, that's a question of the day for the commenters. I'll pull up your comments in a second here. Type in the comments QOTD. Do you feel as though the audio for these shows, and you've been watching for a while, do you feel as though the audio is what you would expect from a top-notch podcast? Or do you think I would benefit from having a standalone stationary microphone in addition to the program as it stands? I've tried multiple microphones, and the feedback I got was that this laptop microphone gives you a really solid audio feed. I in my role of not quite official producer of Strictly Speaking with Bob France this morning. If you're not following him, you could subscribe him. I'll promote his show, Strictly Speaking with Bob France, Frantz. He did a reboot of his system, and it defaulted back to the computer monitor, the computer microphone, instead of his standalone mic. And in his case, the standalone microphone is way better. And he goes, oops. And then he switched it back. I'm like, oh, okay, now it's sounding good again. So I don't sit there and actively produce his show. I kind of hang out in case he's got some glitches, and there always will be when it comes to tech. But question of the day, do you feel as though this audio is at the level you would expect, or do you think we need to do some upgrades? I have different microphones and different microphone setups in different places, but I haven't really used it in a while. So I'd be curious to get your thoughts. Do you think this is high quality? So anyway, that's our Patreon link. It's just the New American Media. You can also become a monthly subscriber on both Rumble and YouTube. I think it's just like $5 a month, the lower level introductory. But once again, those are building blocks. Every person that says every month I'm going to chip in $5, I go, oh, okay. Well, now we can count on that times how many people. They're Lego blocks that go around the border, like that Lego flat base, and you can build the perimeter to the house. They're all building blocks, cornerstones. The tips are awesome. The random, here's $100 on PayPal. You're like, hey, awesome. So I got thousands of dollars of bills that are due in the next 3 days. That comes in handy. So you can become a subscriber on Rumble and on YouTube. If you would consider doing such a thing, I'd be greatly humbled by it. Thank you to the people that are monthly subscribers on both YouTube and Rumble. I appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe to us there. But you can also just drop Rumble rants. You just peel something off. Here's a tenner. Here's a 20 spot. Here's $50. Here's $100, $5, whatever it is. You do a Rumble rant, and it gives a big highlight in the comments section, and we get to celebrate it. By the way, and that's also super chats on the YouTube channel. So those are great ways to help the show. Everyone that does, you are just da bomb. You're fantastic. Checking in on our rankings. All of you made this possible, that we were able to boost our numbers and get our viewership back up to the levels, the pre-censored levels. We used to do shows that would get hundreds of thousands of views, and the powers that be did not like the subject matter that we were covering. But we are recovering now and boosting this back up. So I do want to say thank you. looking at the month-to-month totals from September, October, November, December, January. January has now become our second best month. We're about $50 shy of December to become our best month. So let's finish strong. We got 5 days left. Monday through Friday this week will take us to the end of the month. 5 days left to raise 50 more bucks on that YouTube. That's after they get their cut. They get like 30% or something. Whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, thank you. Now we're sitting at our second best month. Let's see if we can make it our best month with our super chats on YouTube. Thank you so much. But as I also mentioned, Venmo, that's just my name, BrianEngelman Cash App, BrianEngelman, and PayPal is fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. That's the email address to enter. So thank you, everyone. I do have a very specific request now. Let me pull it up on the screen. I need 49. Let's go full screen here. We need 49 followers here on Instagram. Once we reach 1,000, we will be able to live stream our show on Instagram, which will probably create a whole bunch of growth. And we do this. We bounce back and forth on this channel, trying to figure out the ways to grow. Every platform needs more attention. Every platform needs more love. So if you could just take a moment and subscribe to us on Instagram, it would mean the world. If you could share our Instagram feed and ask others to do it, that'd be great. If you don't have an account, take 5 minutes, start a free account. And can we be your only subscriber? You heard? Can you be our only fan? No, I'm not saying that. But we need 49 people to reach 1,000 followers, and then we can stream the show. It'll open up a brand new market. So if you would be so kind as to consider such a thing, I would be most greatly appreciative. All right, we got some stories here we're going to get to in a minute. Let's pull up our chat onto the screen, see who joined us today. Trash Panda, Texas. In the house, Droopy Dog. Marianne, welcome back. Hello, John. Lake Leon saying, got the ad. Yes, I did remember to do that today. I did remember to do that today. Ambient Presence. Hello, Ambient Presence. Over on Kick. Thanks for joining us on Kick. We're on Kick, Twitch, and D Live as well. Thank you for that. Here's David Bann in the house. It's cold, mostly ice. How was the snowpocalypse for you? How did that pan out for you? The snowpocalypse? I did a lot of shoveling yesterday. Whew. But it was shovelable snow. Some of the snow is unshovelable. That's sort of like Mitch McConnell right before I glitch out. Glitch McConnell. Hello, Jay on YouTube. I'm not going to highlight that comment, but congratulations, or sorry to hear that. How do I respond to that comment? Anyway. Yeah, Lake Leon. Oh my goodness. Have you been sharding silver? Hi ho, silver. Kablamo, look at that. One of the coolest gifts we've received. This is a silver ounce from the new, it says the New American Media. A silver ounce. Check this out. We're the TNAM Trash Pandas. We're a bunch of raccoons rifling through the rubbish, separating fake news from fact. Isn't this awesome? I really should create some of these. It's got nice weight to it as well. 135 bucks an ounce. What in hell? What in tarnation is this? 135 an ounce. What an awesome gift. Thank you for that again. Yeah, and good gracious. 135 an ounce. All right. You know, I know there are people in my life that didn't understand why I was bullish on silver. This was years ago. And I had a hunch compared to where gold was at, that silver was extremely undervalued. Now, I am also concerned that when these things spike, it could mean the rug's about to get pulled out, because how else are you going to get Trump impeached if you don't cause a catastrophic event similar to COVID, maybe a black swan financial event, crash the economy and blame it on Trump, blame it on tariffs, blame it on ICE, blame it on the rain. Yeah, yeah. Are we noticing? That's a term here. That's a dog whistle. Noticing. What are you noticing? I'm noticing whatever I want. But could the rise of precious metals like this, a hyperbolic explosion through the roof, Alice, could it be signaling that the other shoe's about to drop? I don't know. Gold is 51.14. Wow. All right. So if you want to send an ounce of gold, you know where to find. You know where the PO box is. Yeah, I'll take a gold ounce engraved with the Trash Pandas. Oh, $5,100 for gold. All right. Who is this person? Damian H. Al Pacino spoke of Trump derangement syndrome in The Godfather 2. Never hate your enemies. It affects your judgment. Never hate your enemies. It affects your judgment. And I think the hatred of Trump, the hatred of MAGA, the hatred of 75% of America has got a radical fringe making a series of catastrophically terrible decisions. It's affected their judgment. And I do want to see Bobby Kennedy put something out to help restore the mental fortitude, the stability, the equilibrium of those impacted with Trump derangement syndrome. It is a real thing. Michael Corleone. Great reference. Damien, I haven't seen you here before. Give me the salute sign here. Can I show you? Oh, look, it does show up. Sometimes the emoji will turn into like a weird text block. Damien, thank you for being here. I do know one Damien in my life. I don't know if that's you. If it is, what's up, buddy? If not, yeah. So if you're the Damien that I hung out with in Vegas, no, not like that. If you're the Damien that I know, what's up? And if you're not, please hit subscribe, hit the like button, and join the program. Yes, I will do a new intro to the TNAM Daily Show soon. I keep saying it. I keep saying it. I've got to prioritize it. There are so many more cool interviews. I want you to see some clips of these interviews. It is a fantastical assortment of who's who. 15 years I've been doing this. I love talking about what's happening in the world. I love it. Stay tuned. I got to make that work. Yes, the Agree to Disagree Show and the TNAM Daily Show. David chiming in. We know what needs to be done to fix the problems. I think we do. I think we're pretty late on the Insurrection Act. Marion has joined us for Strictly Football on many occasions. Her and Ezrael Robinson, Izzy, they're both Cowboy fans. So they commiserate over the Marion, do you have a thought on Mike McCarthy, the former Cowboys coach, being named the new head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Do you have thoughts on that? Curious if you had any. I was probably talking about the Patriots in general. Then there's the New England Patriots. Question of the day says, audio is good. Thank you, Lake Leon. Marion says, question of the day. Yes, the audio is perfect in my honest opinion. Here's another QOTD. IMHO, does that mean in my honest opinion or in my humble opinion? What does that mean to you? In my Just type in QOTD honest or humble or other if you have another word for H. IMHO stands for what? In my what opinion? Honest or humble? Out of curiosity. David says, Mike is good. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I believe it is good. I have an array. I have a battery of microphones that I could use, and I have tried several. One of my studios, I know, I have a couple of studios. One is standing, one is sitting, one is different, just different. Yeah, there's a whole microphone setup, but I didn't feel like it got better. I feel like that this audio is superior. So thank you for the feedback. If you guys were telling me, I don't know, kind of this and that, I would probably switch, or I'd at least strongly think about doing it. And then I'd talk about it for a year or two before I did it. Kenneth is in the house. Take this snow and shovel it. Yeah, here's another question of the day, QOTD. Did any of you notice that the New American Media put out a couple of shorts this weekend for the snowpocalypse? We did 2 TNAM preparedness short videos on YouTube. QOTD. Yes, I saw the shorts. No, I didn't see the shorts. And then everybody, if you want to make a joke about shorts, make a joke about shorts. But did you notice that there were shorts? I did a couple. I meant to do a ton of them, but life gets in the way. Indeed, Kenneth. Hi-ho, silver away. David, yeah, there definitely was a lot of snow up there in Ontario for him, but it was light and fluffy. Shovelable. Kenneth has already tripled my silver investment. Does that mean you bought 3 times more of it, or you bought it at 40 and now it's 120? Is that what you mean? Thanks, Kenneth. Yeah, now that I've asked you to send me an ounce of gold. See, and that's weird too, because like, say I did get an ounce of gold and it said TNAM Trash Pandas or something. Like, here's an ounce of gold. It's an awesome gift, but then it's also something you're never going to cash in. Like, it's like, oh, there's $5,000. That'll cover a month of bills. And you go, well, I'm not going to ever do anything with it. I'm going to keep it forever. Forever, ever. Forever, ever. Forever, ever. It's like that Twilight Zone where the guy, he's a nerd. He's in the library reading, but it's like, oh, I'm so busy all the time. I just wish I could be left alone. I wish I had more free time. I just love to read. And there's an apocalypse and everybody on Earth is gone. And he goes to the library. He's like, oh, I have all the time that I need. And he's reaching for a book or something, and he kind of slips and his glasses fall off. He's like, oh, geez, where did I sit? And he takes a step and it goes crunch. And he goes, oh no. And he puts the glasses up, but they're all broken and he can't see through them. So now he has all the time in the world, but he can't see the books to read them. It's like that classic, like Catch-22. You get a cool donation like that, but you can't do anything. You got to look at it every day and go, well, I'm never getting rid of that. Awesome. I got all the books, but I can't read them. No. But by the way, let it be known. If anyone does want to send some gold to our P.O. box, you shoot me a message and I will let you know. Yeah, I mean, Kenneth has sent stuff to the P.O. box. John has sent stuff to the P.O. box. That's why the P.O. box exists. Open for gold deposits. Just shoot it over. Kenneth will send me some gold bond powder, that is. Yeah, thanks for nothing. I could have used some of that gold bond powder after shoveling the snow for 4 hours yesterday. Oof. David says, I saw something that said the U.S. government might seize $50 billion in Bitcoin. David, are you on X? If you have a story, could you tag me on that? I didn't see that. And I saw that Russia wanted to buy their way into the Board of Peace. I think it's $1 billion, but I think he said, you've taken money from us through sanctions and we want to take that money and put it. So like they're trying to buy in with money that's already been stolen from them. I don't know. The global finance gets so wonky. But if you have any info on that story about Bitcoin, please tell me more, David. I'm curious. Marion says, no thought on Coach Mike McCarthy. Just paying attention to football this year only. Yep. Question of the day. Who do you want to win the Super Bowl? Are you rooting for the Seattle Seahawks or the New England Patriots? And tell me why. What is the reason of your rooting interest? I'm super happy that two of my co-hosts, Jim Mitchell, Mike Barra, that they want, that they're Seahawks fans. I'm happy for them. I'm rooting for them. Kenneth, IMHO, H stands for hot. In my hot opinion. Marion says, in my humble opinion, I'm making homemade oats. There you go. IMHO. I'm making homemade oats. Question of the day. Yes, I watched 3 shorts this weekend. Oh, you did? Did I put 3 shorts out? Lake Leon saw the shorts. Hey, there you go. There you go. Eat my shorts. There's the Kenneth quote I was waiting for. Marion saw 3 shorts. Windshield, prepared, and shoveling. All right, good. Yeah, I mean, we can do a show for 3 hours that'll get 25 views on YouTube. Wink, wink. Shadow banned much. Yeah, we get more. We're on so many platforms because certain platforms will censor it. But you can do a 3-minute short and get your 1,500 like that. And you're like, well, why am I even doing full form content? I do full form because it's way better. My guess in this day and age, long form content might be a lost art. But explain that to Joe Rogan's 2-3 hour shows. Yeah, well, he's Joe Rogan and you're not. Well, okay. Why can't I be the next name in media? Why can't I be the next biggest thing? Oh, because you're not a comedian and because you don't do MMA. No, I've been doing stand-up comedy. Am I great at it? I'm learning. I think I'm funny on the fly. Not entirely certain how to like craft a 4-minute set and not go over it. But I'm working on it. MMA, I would take some courses for sure. Okay, Kenneth is saying he's tripled his silver because he bought it all at 30 or less. Yeah, same here. Marion says Seahawks. You're rooting for the Seahawks because of Mike and Jim only. There you go. Well, that's good for you. Or that's good on you for rooting them success. All right, let's jump to the news stories here because I might have to do a show with these guys in a little bit. What is this? They're showing this today, but I believe we saw this earlier. A collision with ice and some lady.
Yeah! Hit and run! Hit and run! That's a hit and run! Hit and run! Hit and run! That's a hit and run! Hit and run! Hit and
The barrage of constant agitators following and doxing and harassing ICE. It's a terrible strategy. There you go. Now he's out with this firearm.
yeah. Look, hey, watch out with that weapon! That weapon!
They are just poking and poking and poking and antagonizing. This is not good for society. But the Democrats won't shut it down. They think this is their only chance to win the midterms.
Yo, watch out! What's wrong with you? You hit it! You hit her! Yo! What's wrong? You hit her! You hit her! You guys hit her! You guys hit her! What's wrong with y'all?
And now the resisting. Now the fighting back. Not getting arrested. Maybe drive off with the vehicle. Maybe drive off with an agent attached to it and then maybe get some gunfire because then maybe you can be the martyr for your movement. Don't listen to people that are encouraging you to participate in this bullshit. Break free from the Democrat cult immediately, please. MAGA actually loves you. The Democrats that are coaxing you, the deep state that are trying to get you onto the news cycle so that everyone will say her name. Don't listen to these people. Don't be swayed into making catastrophic decisions.
Y'all bust a whole U-turn in the middle of the street. Y'all hit her. Y'all on camera. Leave her alone. She even do shit. She trying to go to work. She trying to go to work.
What the fuck?
Bro, what? Crazy shit. Y'all some crazy. Y'all got no heart, for real. No heart. No heart. She's a female.
That's called resisting arrest. I don't know almost ever when you don't resist arrest. It's 99 point something. It's almost always a great idea to not resist arrest. You got a problem, you sort it out in the courts. You do not want to escalate and end up in a casket. Nobody on the Republican side is rooting for that. Nobody on the MAGA side wants to see more collateral damage. I don't think anybody does.
Female.
But that's definitely not getting arrested. That is resisting arrest.
You guys hit her. How you guys getting arrested?
Yeah, I remember this story before.
You guys hit her. Man, how y'all getting arrested, Brad? Bro, bogus as fuck.
And there you go. See that oh, wait. That guy right there. Filming it. We got to get the picture. We got to get the image. We have to do it. We got to get that picture. We got to get that footage. Make ICE look bad. Sacrifice yourself for the greater good. Drink the Kool-Aid. No, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Yes, stop impeding the law. And it is way past time for the Insurrection Act, it seems, in Minneapolis specifically. But yeah, I think this one was from a few months ago. Why do people wear black with brown? That's an instant arrest by the fashion police. It's funny. I actually know that commenter. So I think Instagram will tell you people that you know. All right. Here you go. A little bit louder for the people in the back. Let me full screen this. Do you want to know why I don't care about your anti-ICE protests?
She's got a smile.
Beautiful Americans butchered by people who had no business being in this country. Maybe not all of them had known criminal backgrounds that would have had them filtered out. Maybe some of them were. Say their names. And there's no way to comment here. Americans taken far too soon from illegal alien invaders. I asked Dan about that last week or something. How do we get rid of the illegal aliens? He said, I don't think it's that big a problem. Once again, if my paraphrasing is a little off, like when I said lawyers and he said judges, I wasn't trying to misinterpret or intentionally reframe anything. So correct me if he said something different. But the general gist is it's not that big a problem. It's not that big a deal. On another question, it was, well, illegal aliens, immigrants don't commit crimes at a higher rate than Americans. That's not true, by the way. But they say that as if I give a good GD. I don't. Someone here illegally should have never been here, which means all of those crimes were 100% preventable. If you go through the system, if you go through the process, you are much more likely to be on your best behavior. If you sneak in and you get away with it and you're getting free money and you're committing crimes and you're running amok, you don't care about anybody but you. You don't care about the community. Look at all these beautiful girls deleted because of Democrat deep state open border policies. I'm not okay with that. We said repel the invasion. I'll mute this. This lady says, politics for her. Who's this? A bunch of followers. I'll follow. I drop followers every day. I'm like, I don't know who any of these accounts are. Post this says, so hundreds of ICE agents coming to your neighborhood is an invasion. But millions of illegals coming to your neighborhood is not? Can you make that sense? Can you make that make sense? Hundreds of ICE agents in your neighborhood is an invasion, but millions of illegals isn't it? We'll say repel the invasion button. Razor Fist put this out. It says, weird that ICE are operating in dozens of states, but it only gets violent in the one where we just uncovered a $1 billion fraud ring with probable links to the governor. Interesting, huh? Razor Fist. Weird that ICE are operating in dozens of states, but it only gets violent in the ones where we just uncovered $1 billion fraud rings with probable links to the governor. Can we get some arrests already? Let's check out on the Super Bowl. Who is America rooting for in this Super Bowl? Well, here you see at about 60-some%, the Seahawks in blue here. They're rooting for the Seahawks. In yellow, well, I'll get to yellow in a second. There's a tiny little sliver of red. It looks like 1% that might be voting for the Patriots. They'd be rooting for the Patriots. And then in yellow here, that's maybe 35% or so. 35%. It says, who cares? At least the Chiefs and Eagles aren't in it again. Who cares? At least the Chiefs and Eagles aren't there. Yeah, Kenneth. Fraud discovered? Send in the riots. That's like the Austin Powers thing, where she screams, send in the whatever. Yeah, a lot of people say the Seahawks and Rams was the actual Super Bowl. Those were the two best teams. And it was close. Came down to like right at the end. It could have gone either way. Hang on. Where did the next story go? Are we watching this? Why am I? Oh, I need to scroll through it. That's what happened. Check this out. Did you see this? I think this was something the NFL put out. And it was this this graphic of all these players like aiming at the Super Bowl. Who's going to get there? It's got Saquon Barkley, Brock Purdy, J.J. Watt, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, Pat Mahomes, Bijan Robinson, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson. You know, a whole bunch of teams, right? But you zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. It looks like there's two that are up in the front. Is this accurate? Is this actually how it was put together? If so, it shows Sam Darnold and Drake May. Did they know all along? Check this out. Check this out. This is so funny. What's up, Sparks Coach? Happy to have you here. Sparks, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, please. Hit the thumbs up and the like button, and please share the show with a friend. Sparks Coach says Seahawks are the better team. But don't underestimate a Patriots Super Bowl victory for that nation. No, and it's just so disappointing because Mike Vrabel was in the house in Cleveland last year. We could have hired him as a coach. Instead, we let him leave, and he took over the Patriots, and look where they're at. Vrabel's the real deal. He's got that franchise back to the Super Bowl. I didn't have that on my bingo board at the beginning of the season. They turned it around real quick with the right leadership. No, I'm not taking the Patriots lightly at all. They have pedigree, muscle memory, organizational stability, expectations, camaraderie. It's just, yeah, they're legit for sure, Sparks Coach. Check this out. It says Rams were cooked the moment that Puka Nacua showed up to the NFC Championship looking like Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. You know, I think I'd like to. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people watching us today. I got to work on my I did a good Kamala when I had to listen to her. I haven't heard her in so long, and I'm actually okay with that. This is maybe my favorite meme. Look at this one. Let me take this off. Someone said Sean McVay looks like a white Cash Patel, and now I can't unsee it. Rams coach Sean McVay, top left, Cash Patel on the right, and a blend of them both at the bottom. I mean, you got me. You got me there. That is a wild graphic. In an unprecedented move, the NFL is omitting the AFC Championship winner and decided to make the Super Bowl a best-of-3 series between the Seahawks and Rams. I mean, but yeah, Seahawks get a chance to battle the Patriots. They coulda, woulda, shoulda won it, but Malcolm Butler had that interception at the goal line instead of running it to Marshawn Lynch. Seahawks open as the favorites in the Super Bowl. Let me see what Jim was telling me in the chat. I'm going to say, should we do today or tomorrow, fellas? Seahawks are giving 4.5 in the early line. Seahawks giving 4.5 points on the early line. So there's a question of the day. Would you take the Seahawks minus 4.5 or would you take the Patriots plus 4.5? What say you? Bad Bunny. What is the counter programming for halftime? I have no interest in watching Bad Bunny. Zero. I think they say he's going to wear a dress and protest ICE because we shouldn't have borders or something. So we'll see. Sam Darnold was taken number 3 overall. And he might be able to keep the Patriots from winning a season. That's crazy. Darnold was considered a bust until last year in Minnesota. And now he's back. Sam Darnold has had 2 Super Bowl appearances. Did he really? No, he didn't. Did he? I thought he only had 1. Sam Darnold was in the same draft class as Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and he's the first to make it to the Super Bowl. Anyway. Oh, this is crazy. In the 21st century, every single time a new pope has been elected, the Seahawks have clinched the number 1 seed and made it to the Super Bowl. 2005, Pope Benedict, Seahawks Super Bowl. 2013, Pope Francis, Seahawks Super Bowl. 2025, Pope Leo, Seahawks Super Bowl. That's crazy. Why are they saying this is... Oh, he's got a Cowboys tattoo on his arm. Congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys on finally making it to the Super Bowl this century. That's funny. Ken says the Pats will take it. David, a lot of people will put their money on the Seahawks. The betting odds confuse you. Here's all you need to know, Marion. Vegas. There we go. Yeah. Barf Bunny. David would not touch the game. He says the NFL will rig it so that they get whatever outcome they want. Okay, so here's the betting odds, Marion. It's this easy. Vegas wants even betting because they win. They win on the margins. I don't know. I guess it's different at places, but they want roughly an equal amount of gambling on both sides, usually, as much as you can. So essentially, Seahawks minus 4.5. That means the Seahawks are 4.5 points better than the Patriots. So to balance it out, you go, all right, let's take 4.5 points away from the Seahawks. Give the Patriots 4.5 points. Now you're not betting on the outcome of the game. You're betting on the outcome of the game if 4.5 points was applied to it. So if it's a 21-20 victory by the Seahawks, in betting terms, the Patriots get 4.5 points. They would have 24.5-21. Patriots would win that one. It's what they do to try to encourage equal betting on both sides. Otherwise, you'll just always get, they're all betting on one team, and it's like, rarely are you going to make sense of that. So, yeah, 4.5, I don't know. I don't know. +4 will draw a lot from them, in my opinion, says David. Yeah. So stay tuned. We'll do more football talk on the Strictly Football show. In case you missed it, the U.S. has passed a bill allowing the government to remotely shut down your vehicle. House Republicans join. What is this account? House Republicans joined Democrats to defeat an amendment that would have blocked funding for new vehicle technology tied to impaired driving prevention. The failed Massey amendment sought to block provisions from a Biden-era infrastructure law directing regulators to enable remote vehicle shutdowns. Conservatives warned of government overreach and privacy risks, while supporters argued the technology will improve road safety. The broader bill was later passed with bipartisan support. Evan Kilgore says it's ridiculous Congress voted to allow funding for vehicle kill switch technology mandated by federal regulators. Gives the government authority to require systems that can disable our vehicles. Yes, our federal government is corrupt. Matt says, as an Idaho resident, born and raised, Idaho voter, and one of your many employers, yes, you work for me and everyone else in Idaho, Mike Simpson, Congressman. I'd like an explanation as to why you supported this vehicle kill switch. Please don't insult my intelligence with the driving under the influence nonsense. If that's the argument, then why wouldn't you have a kill switch on cell phones? Distracted driving harms far more people than driving under the influence. Don't insult my intelligence. And Brandon says, giving the government the power to turn off your car is not common sense. It's insane. You really want the communists in our government to have this power? What if Whitmer had this during the road protests during COVID? You think they won't use it? Bill Blander says, GM vehicles with OnStar have been able to allow authorities to slow and shut down those vehicles for well over a decade. This isn't something new, only now it's getting mandated for all vehicles. Is anyone surprised? Anna says, no, it's common sense. What's surprising and frustrating is posting facts that clarify what this program is and not seeing comments that confirm no one reads. All right. So that happened while you weren't paying attention. Grand Ole Levin wants to check in on Minneapolis and kind of show you some balance here.
It's only in places like Minneapolis where you're seeing civilians being shot by ICE officers. You're not seeing this sort of thing in places like Florida. Because in Minneapolis, you have a radicalized population of Disney-brained adults who think that they're in a movie. They literally think they're like superheroes resisting tyranny in a movie. So they show up to protest armed, and intentionally intervene and agitate federal law enforcement activities. And it's like, these people think that this is what the Second Amendment's for. It's for resisting tyranny. You are not resisting tyranny by resisting the enforcement of federal law that people voted for, by the way. Trump ran on enforcing our immigration laws. Just because your radicalized population in Minneapolis didn't vote for those laws doesn't mean that they cease to be federal law. They should still be enforced, and interfering with the enforcement of those laws is literally resisting the will of the American people. You are not the hero you think you are. You're a radicalized Disney-brained adult who thinks that you're the superhero in a movie when in actuality you've just been brainwashed to fight against your own interests. It's a
Disney-brained adult. I might need to remember that. I also have another phrase. You're drinking the Tim Waltz tap water without saying the R word. I'm still reluctant to bring the R word back. Tim Waltz tap water. I like the phraseology of that. I'm going to comment on Disney-brained adult is a term worth using. We also say that some people are drinking the Tim Waltz tap water when they be acting a fool. Once you say, maybe don't cosplay as a militia member and go to a protest armed with the express intention of agitating federal law enforcement. No, it could not have been any of us, because I'd never do something that stupid. Let me be clear. This does not mean these shootings are all justified. That is case by case and depends on the evidence. But civilians should not be putting themselves in these situations to begin with. Agreed on that point. My buddy Greg shared this about the snowpocalypse. This is Kent Bruckman. I don't know if I can share a moment of this without eliciting the ire of the censors. I can't believe you shared copywritten content. Yeah, it's called fair use. We're talking about a snowpocalypse, and we're telling you to go buy this season of The Simpsons on DVD. Look up this one with the Kent Bruckman here. Shout out to Lake Leon. Thank you, Lake Leon. Says, I just made another Instagram account and followed the New American Media. Yeah, TNAM on the gram. That's a great line. TNAM on the gram. Thank you. I guess we only need 48 follows. So please follow us on the gram. David Bann, I think you're talking about the car disabling thing. Like most things, it could be used. Could be used for the right purpose, or it could be used for the tyrannical purpose. Yes. And they're like, oh, you can't be in favor of ICE bootlicker. You want them to be. Yeah, we have a massive security breach. We got to identify who broke into the facility. Unprecedented times. Yeah, we got to figure it out. I don't want to see the bouncers harm a single person. But if they're in there illegally, and if they got supporters that, oh, they're friends of mine, well, then make them go outside, show their ID, and pay the cover charge. You want to pick a fight with the bouncer? That's not going to be a wise decision. I don't encourage that. It's very poor strategy. You want to work on things, you work on them legally. All right, regarding the snowpocalypse, here's Kent Brockman.
First, let's check the death count from the killer storm.
We got a killer storm bearing down on us. We got to check the death count.
Down on us like a shotgun full of snow.
Similes and analogies. Using like or as. The storm is barreling down on us like a shotgun full of snow. Let's check in on the expert.
Well, Kent, as of now, the death count is 0.
Ooh. Luckily, we're at 0 for now.
But it is ready to shoot right up.
Oh, my God. Damn you, snow! But first...
Did you find the snowpocalypse to be a little overhyped? I heard it was going to be 3 feet of snow, and so, I mean, I was actively out there. Although I am glad that I did it, because it's supposed to be so cold for so long. Like, the sooner you get it swept up, get the yard shoveled, or the driveway and such. Get it shoveled as quick as possible. I'm also working with the community to figure out how we're going to get a snowblower and how we can handle the sidewalks and maybe the houses of elderly or people that are not on top of their game, let's say. Just say no. Anyway, watch The Simpsons. That was me advertising you by The Simpsons season. Okay, so officially So Tired account. And 5 others. Who are the others? Talking about, you MAGA people used to be for open carry, for concealed carry. Now you're against it. You're bootlickers. You are idiots. You're such idiots. Well, number one, wrestling cops during an arrest is usually a really bad idea. Still against that. It says somebody has to say it, but this is how you carry and not get shot by law enforcement. Kid was only 17 and he was smart enough to do this the right way. Take a watch.
Rittenhouse runs toward police vehicles and raises his hands.
They're playing Metallica in the background, so I got to pause it. Yeah, he runs to save himself. There's law enforcement. Hands up. He's showing he's no threat. He is armed, but he's not.
The police make no attempt to stop him.
The police make no attempt to stop him.
And he isn't arrested until the next day.
Yep. And he isn't arrested until the next day. My understanding, that guy that got shot didn't have a concealed carry permit. I say the Second Amendment is your concealed carry permit. I mean, we don't need a permit to have our First Amendment. Why do we need one for the Second Amendment? But if you're armed and wrestling the police, and they've shown the frame by frame, maybe I'll find a clip where they break it down. I just have so much Minnesota fatigue. I'm not super interested in breaking it down frame by frame. Some claim he was executed. Some claim he was reaching. And it looks like he's reaching back for it, but it's already been taken out of its holster and he was going for it. You make the call. I think 72 hours to sort out a story is usually a good idea. So there you go. Wait, so you're saying you can carry a weapon, as is your right, and not win a Darwin Award? That's amazing. So there's that. All right, Wall Street Bullion shared this and said, Minnesota National Guard members arrived at the site of the federal building and have been ordered to distribute donuts, coffee, and hot chocolate to anti-ICE protesters. They were given reflective vests so protesters don't confuse them with federal agents.
It's almost Valentine's Day. We'll get a shot of her, so.
But thank you all.
Cup of coffee, sir? First, do you want on the end? Please, hot chocolate? Got donuts.
Thanks everybody for joining us again. We're now about 24 hours from the killing of Alex, and during that time of everything that's happened, I hope everyone's taking away a picture of a life of generosity, service oriented. And his life's coming into clearer focus. I had the privilege of talking with Michael and Susan, Alex's parents, yesterday, and the heartache in the hours after your son's murdered in front of the world is one thing, but what stood out to me was a parent's desire and their passion to make sure that the story of someone who went to work to care for veterans, someone who was a valued coworker.
Shit, I was muted. How long have I been muted? Jeez, sorry. I'm sure whatever I was saying was brilliant. Waltz and crew are encouraging people to go out there and act a fool. To then be sympathetic to the family that you riled people up to get out there and get into the law enforcement operations of ICE to cause problems. And now you're what? You're acting like the good guy who's talking to the family with sympathy. If it wasn't for your direct involvement, if it wasn't for you directing people to go there, maybe this tragedy could have been avoided, Tim.
Someone who relished and lived in this state in a big way, whether it was outdoor activities or being down there on the street as a First Amendment witness to what ICE is doing to this state. So
I love that, what ICE is doing to this state, what Joe Biden's open borders policies did to our country, what did to your city and your state. Why don't you say that? That's the cause. Don't blame the mold remediation company for mold in your house. Blame the people that flooded it with water. That was your team, Tim. All right, so let's see what we know, at least according to Grok. Alex Preddy, the 37-year-old ICU nurse, U.S. citizen with no criminal record, fatally shot by federal agents on the 24th during immigration enforcement operation in are we on the 27th yet? We're at the 26th, so almost on the 72-hour rule. Lawful gun owner with a Minnesota permit to carry, but he wasn't arrested. He was K'd at the scene after a brief confrontation. I guess you have to carry identification and paperwork per concealed carry, but he had neither. Preddy was in the area as a protester resisting Operation Metro Surge, a Trump admin immigration crackdown that led to prior arrests and shootings in this. Filming the agents with his phone and directing traffic at the. Okay, hold on. Why was this guy directing traffic? You're not a traffic cop. Nobody deputized you to get in the roads and direct traffic. What are we doing here? These people are cosplaying. Anyway, let me continue because I haven't seen video of what he was doing. Why was he? According to Grok, he was filming agents with his phone and directing traffic at the intersection of 26th and Nicollet Avenue to help people navigate around the operation. You're not a fucking traffic cop. Like, nobody deputized you for this. Why were you doing something that you're not supposed to be doing? You mean he deserved to be executed for that? No! I'm saying it's stupid what he was doing. Escalation happened when a federal agent shoved a woman to the ground. What was the woman doing? Preddy intervened by stepping between the agent and the woman, placing his arm around her to assist her, putting him in direct physical proximity to the agents, leading to an attempt to detain or disarm him rather than a formal arrest. Grabbed her coat hood during the scuffle, embraced her as they fell. 9mm Sig Sauer handgun, 2 loaded magazines in his waistband. Authorities claimed he approached armed and intended to attack, but it's contradicted by footage. Yeah, I did read something about Kristi Noem needs to shut the hell up. Like, just jumping to a knee-jerk reaction to say whatever it is that an attorney would say, to, weasel words to defend the actions. Maybe sometimes you don't need to say everything at once, especially if you don't have evidence to back it up. That's how you erode trust. I read a Bill Melugin report that was shared in the Agreed. Are you on Facebook? I know I don't advertise Facebook much because screw them. They were so terrible at us. With us. Hi, buddy. You come up. Let me bring you up. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Mr. Nimbus. Here, can you sit here? Yeah. I forget the point I was making. Yeah, Bill Melugin is saying she's got to stop saying things that are false because it's just eroding the trust between the community. And I get that. If you're going to say it, you better have rock solid evidence that what you're saying is accurate. Otherwise, don't even bring it up. Grok continues. Was holding a phone. In the side-by-side on Strictly Speaking, Bob France, by the way, he's a 2-time Emmy winner with True Blue Network. That's the Chris, what's the guy's name? Hansen, Chris Hansen, the guy who takes out the kid abusers, the S criminals. And so Bob's done, what is it called? Cops Under Attack or something. So they break down footage and they go frame by frame. But he, on his morning show today, he was going frame by frame, and his contention was that he was reaching for where his holster was, that the gun had already been taken back out. But he was reaching for it. And someone had taken a gun and yelled gun, 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 and then he reached toward where that was. I mean, everything, tunnel vision, man. Things move real fast. John says, nope, not on Facebook. Cheers to you, John. Thank you. What I was getting at is that you should follow TNAM, TNAM apostrophe S, quotation marks, the Agree to Disagree Show, quotation mark. Follow that group. It's a private group. Submit a request to join on Facebook. It's a great group, as well as the Unhappy Hour Sports Show on Facebook, another great group. But yeah, we broke that down frame by frame, and actually on X here we might actually have that. But let me finish up what Grok is saying. Sequence unfolded quickly, under 30 seconds. Agents pepper sprayed him, shoved him down with the woman, tackled him. 5 officers, one removed his gun from the holster, and then fired 10 shots over 5 seconds while he was pinned. Some reports suggest a possible negligent discharge from his gun during disarming may have prompted the agents to open fire. They said he violently resisted efforts to disarm him after approaching armed, posing an imminent threat. They claim he assaulted officers and planned a massacre, justifying the shooting as self-defense. Witnesses, videos, independent analysis says Preddy didn't resist aggressively. He was focused on protecting the woman, was pepper sprayed and pinned down, and showed no signs of fighting back or reaching. No, I mean, he did reach. I did see that. Frame by frame show he was disarmed before the shots, with an agent holding his gun away from the scuffle. Witnesses in sworn affidavits said he didn't attack or brandish. Struggle was more about him being overwhelmed than active resistance. I mean, there's a lot of subjective stuff in here. A lot of Wikipedia references that any resistance could have been minimal, like curling protectively during the tackle. Anyway, that's what they're saying. Back to Tim Wells.
Once again, to Michael and Susan, when I talk to these parents, it's always in deep confidential conversation. In this one, though, Michael was very clear to me. He said, don't let them forget Alex's story. The world knows how he died. He died at the hands of ICE agents on the streets of Minneapolis.
Why was he in the streets directing traffic at an ICE investigation? Why did he insert himself into that? Well, the shark had no right to eat him. Why did you jump into the shark pool? Oh, so, see, there you go. You're calling ice sharks. You got to get rid of all the sharks. Illegal alien invaders are the sharks, actually. So you're mixing metaphors now? Now you're just confusing? Sometimes I am, yes.
They want us to make sure we said how.
Anyway, there's Tim Waltz. All right, what do we got here? Eric Schwalm says, a little bit of a thread here. There's a Minneapolis Signal chat that's gaining some traction as people are figuring things out. He says, as a former Special Forces warrant officer with multiple rotations running counterinsurgency ops, both hunting insurgents and trying to separate them from sympathetic populations, I've seen organized resistance up close from Anbar to Hemland. The pattern is familiar. Spotters, cutouts, dead drops, or modern equivalents, disciplined comms, role specialization, and a willingness to absorb casualties while bleeding the stronger force slowly. What's unfolding in Minneapolis right now isn't protest. It's low-level insurgency infrastructure built by people who have clearly studied the playbook. Signal groups. Are you on Signal? There's a good question for the group. All the regulars out there. The New American Media does have a Signal. It's TNAM and TNAM chat. We also have a Telegram, TNAM and TNAM chat. Please follow us on Signal and on Telegram. Signal groups at 1,000-member cap per zone. Dedicated roles, mobile chasers, plate checkers, logging vehicle data into shared databases, 24/7 dispatch nodes, vectoring assets, salute-style reporting, size, activity, location, unit, time, equipment, on suspected federal vehicles, daily chat rotations and timed deletions to frustrate forensic recovery, vetting processes for new joiners, mutual aid from sympathetic locals, teachers providing cover, possible PD tip-offs on license plate hookups, home base coordination points, rapid escalation from observation to physical obstruction or worse. This isn't spontaneous outrage. This is C2, command and control, with redundancy, OPSEC, operational security, hygiene, and task organization that would make a SF team sergeant nod in recognition. Replace ICE agents with occupying coalition forces, and the structure maps almost one-to-one to early stage urban cells that we hunted in the mid-2000s. The most sobering part, it's domestic, funded, trained somewhere, and directed by people who live in the same country they're trying to paralyze law enforcement in. When your own citizens build and operate this level of parallel intelligence and rapid response network against federal officers, complete with doxing, vehicle pursuits, and harassment that's already turned lethal twice, you're no longer dealing with civil disobedience. You're facing a distributed resistance that's learned the lessons of successful insurgencies. Stay below the kinetic threshold most of the time. Force over reaction when possible. Maintain popular support through narrative and never present a single center of gravity. I spent years training partner forces to dismantle exactly this kind of apparatus. Now, pieces of it are standing up in American cities, enabled by elements of local government and civil society. That should keep every thinking American awake at night. Not because I want escalation, but because history shows these things don't de-escalate on their own. Once the infrastructure exists and the cadre believe they're winning the information war. We either recognize what we're actively looking at, or we just pretend. It's just activism until the structures harden and spread. Your call, America, but from where I sit, this isn't January 2026 politics anymore. It's phase one of something we've spent decades trying to keep off our own soil. Let's see, repel the invaders and defend America button. The war is here. And I, for one, am appreciative that we finally have a commander-in-chief that seems to care. David says Minnesota is too far gone. Lake Leon, nope, not on Signal. Kenneth, I'm single. Oh, wait, you said Signal. Okay. Marion, question of the day. I have no other social media presence at all. David, nope. Yeah, Signal is a encrypted chat. I've used it with groups of journalists on the ground at various events across the country. When you get with groups, sometimes it's a more reliable mechanism. When we know the cell towers, we know that cell service can get shut down. January 6th, they shut a whole bunch of stuff down. Nothing was really working. But it does work as like group threads. And we have a presence there. I don't use it a lot. Maybe I could use it more. All right. Let me double check on. Izzy says tomorrow. Okay, so I guess we're not going to do a show today. All right, I guess we'll aim for tomorrow for the show. Keep your eyes peeled, people. All right, let's go over to our X account. We are at American_media_. Make sure you're following us on X, please. Pinned to the top is our Patreon page, where you can link up with us. Please do. Let me get this back up and going. There we are. I think Nimbus wants some lunch. All right, we got a lot here, so let's get to it. Fox News Post. A man of memes says President Trump reacts to the deadly Minneapolis shooting by saying Mayor Frey and Governor Walz have been using dangerous rhetoric. Border Patrol Command Greg Bovino said an agent fired defensive shots while attempting to disarm an individual who was violently resisting. The suspect also had 2 magazines and no ID. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. The quote here says from President Trump, the mayor and governor are inciting insurrection with their pompous, dangerous, arrogant rhetoric. Instead, these sanctimonious political fools should be looking for the billions of dollars that have been stolen from the people of Minnesota and the United States of America. Let our ICE patriots do their job. Geotech War says Minneapolis, Minnesota. President Trump on the shooting that left Alex Jeffrey Preddy, 37, fatally shot by federal agents, posted a photo of a handgun that was loaded. Why are they using all these quotes? With 2 additional full magazines and questioned why local police weren't there to protect ICE. Yeah. Why aren't local police working with them? President Trump shared this. Can you see this full? No, you can't. Let me full screen it. Actually, let me do it this way, that way. This is the gunman's gun loaded with 2 additional full magazines and ready to go. What is that all about? Where are the local police? Why weren't they allowed to protect ICE officers? The mayor and the governor called them off. It is stated that many of these police are not allowed to do their job, that ICE had to protect themselves. Not an easy thing to do. Why does Ilhan Omar have $34 million in her account? And where are the tens of billions of dollars that have been stolen from the once great state of Minnesota? We are there because of massive monetary fraud with billions of dollars missing, illegal criminals that were allowed to infiltrate the state through the Democrats' open border policy. We want the money back, and we want it back now. Those fraudsters who stole the money are going to jail, where they belong. This is no different than a really big bank robbery. Much of what you're witnessing is a cover-up for this theft and fraud. The mayor and the governor are inciting insurrection with their pompous, dangerous, arrogant rhetoric. Instead, these sanctimonious political fools should be looking for the billions of dollars that have been stolen from the people of Minnesota and the United States of America. Let our ICE patriots do their job. 12,000 illegal alien criminals, many of them violent, have been arrested and taken out of Minnesota. If they were still there, you would see something far worse than you're witnessing today. I mean, is this an insurgency? Like, what are you... Not peaceful protest. It's cool footage from Cam Higbee. Drone overhead. I got to get me a drone. Showing that moment with all the smoke. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Got to get me a drone. Was this the guy? All right. Andy No says the belief from conservatives that left-wing and Antifa radicals are being paid to protest needs to stop. You have to accept, you must, that these people are so committed to their beliefs that they'll do anything, including criminal acts, violence, maiming, and even killings for their beliefs. It's a significant difference from conservative street activism, which is less committed, much smaller, and not supported by networks of groups. Where the money aspect does come in, however, is through the leftist networks of nonprofits or mutual aid, groups that provide free legal aid, bail, riot supplies, messaging, influencers, and sometimes transportation. If you read my book about Antifa, you'll learn more about this. Elizabeth says, what are your thoughts on the fact that a Latin King gang member was part of the mob that stole a rifle from a vandalized ICE vehicle, and his drug cartel has a bounty on Commander Bovino? Speaking of that, take a listen to the update on the allegations that a Latin King gang member put a hit out on Greg Bovino. Did they find him guilty?
Other breaking news that we're following this afternoon, a high-ranking member of a street gang is charged with putting a hit out on a senior law enforcement official involved with Operation Midway Blitz. Police arrested 37-year-old Juan Espinoza Martinez this morning. And according to the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Chicago, Martinez sent a Snapchat message stating, quote, $2K on information when you get him and $10K if you take him down. The Tribune reports the alleged target was Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino. A court date has not been set.
Only a jury in Chicago would find a confirmed Latin King member who clearly put out a hit on Greg Bovino not guilty. Amused put this out. Latin Kings put out a hit on U.S. Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino just a week ago. And he's out in the neighborhood showing it. And we got music. Not guilty, they said. U.S. Immigration Custom Enforcement says a registered S offender arrested. ICE Denver got Nerlin Johanathan Perez Amaya, criminal illegal alien from Honduras, convicted of electronic S exploitation. Heroic officers found him during a targeted operation in Grand Junction, Colorado. Good. Keep doing those things. Rick Scott says, I'll be returning to D.C. very soon. I want to be clear. DHS Gov. Okay, it just says DHS needs to continue to be fully funded. I won't support any efforts to strip DHS of its funding. Senator Ron Johnson says Democrats opened the border and allowed many dangerous criminals to invade America. Minnesota Democrats are inciting violence and obstruction of federal law enforcement. Now, Senate Democrats are threatening to defund the very agency tasked with cleaning up their mess. I will oppose any effort to defund DHS. Unreal. Democrat Party's been conquered. They do not represent you. And you're right, we got to get rid of all these corrupt judges, Lake Leon. Colorado Libs of TikTok reports a Colorado State Senator Julie Gonzalez urges followers to join Colorado ICE Rapid Response Network, which is similar to Minnesota's Signal group chats, where leftists organize the doxing and harassment of ICE agents. 0 Hour 1 says it's a coordinated attack to overthrow the federal government in multiple states with Democrat politicians at the center. There is a word for the thing that they are doing. What's the word?
We grieve the death of Alec 864-8341. Trained volunteers will help document and confirm what's going on. Colorado is home to a powerful movement that's been organizing to defend and advance immigrant rights.
Wait, what happened? Let me play this. Sorry.
We grieve the death of Alex Jeffrey Preddy at the hands of ICE agents in Minnesota today. I don't think I'm the only one grappling with the conflicting emotions of grief, rage, and fear as we're witnessing masked ICE patrols gun people down in broad daylight and then label those victims as domestic terrorists. This isn't isolated to just Minneapolis, and it's not new. Those of us who have been organizing for ICE accountability for years have seen this coming. Immigrants, Muslims, trans folks, anybody at the margins are canaries in the coal mines for how extremists seek to divide and conquer us. Well, here we are. So where do we go from here? A couple of tips that I want y'all to keep in mind. If you haven't already, sign up and attend a Know Your Rights training so that you are prepared on how to navigate interactions with ICE. Second, plug the Colorado Rapid Response Network into your phone and save it. If you see suspicious activity, call the hotline at 844-864-8341. Trained volunteers will help document and confirm what's going on. Colorado is home to a powerful movement that's been organizing to defend and advance immigrant rights for years. If you can, volunteer. If you're able, donate and support organizations doing the work on the ground.
It's almost like the work is an insurrection, huh? Yeah, what was that word? What's that word? Is it insurrection? Or is it a bird? Well, a bird is a word. Nice. Bird is a word. Back when times were simpler. All right. This is what I told you about Anna Paulina Luna. She's had it. If we don't fix our voting, these corrupt blue cities might overthrow the blue states and send us backward. We can't go backward. Here's Anna Paulina Luna.
Serendipitous in timing. And if I could explain for a moment. Well, look, I actually think that this might be serendipitous in timing. And if I could explain for a moment. So what happens is when the appropriations are going to be rejected by Senate over DHS funding, ultimately that means that those appropriations bills have to come back to the House. And so I've actually formed an alliance with a handful of other Republican members that will refuse to vote on any legislation to send it over to the Senate unless there's something specifically placed in it and something called a rule that would prevent the Senate from stripping out the SAVE Act. So it would force them, if they choose to shut down the government, when they choose to reopen it, they will have to also then to simultaneously vote on the SAVE Act, which would basically save our country with election integrity. So we can play this game of chicken, but I do have a handful of Republicans that will stand with me very strong and ensure that this is done on behalf of the American people. So we're here to deliver.
Congresswoman,
well, look,
Okay, good. DC Drano says this is exactly what we want to see. Actual fighters in Congress. Shut it all down until our elections are secured. Representative Anna Paulina Luna says there's nothing organic about these protests. Cam Higbee shows these signal chats. Take a look. Any volume here? So the Proton Drive, cloud storage, Patrol PDF. All right. Yep, very coordinated. They want to destroy this country. They don't think borders should count. Andy No says fear. Full screen it. There we go. Fear pushes people to care only about their money and their families. This is true. I've seen that a lot from moderates and conservatives in my early career when I needed their support as the far left tried to K me. Your harrowing story describes similar situations that occurred in Portland and Seattle in the past. The far left thugs are encouraged by Democrats to create parallel power institutions to the state. They then dictate through violence what the new rules are. They include no recording in public, proving identification, and following their orders. This in response to James O'Keefe saying in Minneapolis, the mob threatens to K James O'Keefe, ice bottles thrown, followed in his OMG team under attack. My team and I are in, well, let's just listen to his report.
This is James O'Keefe in downtown Minneapolis. We have a team of undercover reporters still inside the mob. I was at the scene of the shooting covering it this morning. And basically, we barely got out of there alive. There were a few hundred that surrounded us, started throwing ice bottles at us. A few hit us, hit our vehicle. They were starting to rip off my bulletproof vest. So we got out of there. We were followed. We were tailed. And here we are right now. We just got this message. And it says, we know that you're in Minneapolis. You're with O'Keefe and his crew of Nazis. You're in a white Ford license plate. They actually wrote the license plate down from Florida. You have 1 hour to leave or you're dead. You have 1 hour to leave or you're dead. We are going to produce our footage, gathering everything we've got from this weekend. We're going to put our report together along with the hidden camera footage that we have. We still have undercover people in the field. Please pray for my team's safety. This is worse than anything I could have possibly imagined. I have security with me, former Marine, and he said that it was worse than overseas, and it was certainly anything worse than I've seen the cartel at the border. We're going to contact law enforcement, DHS, and the FBI, and we're going to try to get out of here safely so we can bring the news to you. Stay tuned for our report coming Tuesday, 1 o'clock.
It's really bad out there. All right. Let's see what Audrey's got to say. Seeing conservatives blame the man who was, you're saying executed. That's a very loaded phrase there. Blame the man who was executed. Pretend that the man was brandishing a gun. Well, was he reaching for his holster? Because in the frame by frame, it looks like it. In this frame by frame analysis, really leaves out the fact that this happens in just a matter of seconds. And if he were actually just arrested, he would have just been arrested. Brandishing a gun, claimed that he deserved it for being in a Signal group chat. Well, a participant in insurrection, a participant in actively impeding a federal investigation, not just being in a Signal group chat. At least according to Grok, they said he was on the street. He was directing traffic. I don't know if that's confirmed. Grok said it was. Probably even cited a source. I didn't see that, but if that's true, that's not his role. That's not what he's supposed to be doing. Impeding. Am I saying the wrong word? What did I say? Impeding? Obstructing? Impeding? Did I say impeding? Now you got me wondering what I said. Claiming he deserved it is just about as horrifying as the video himself. Why did he insert himself into that ICE? What do you call it? An operation? That ICE. Why did that guy go there? Why did he insert himself in that? Why did he get in between an ICE agent and somebody that they had an altercation with? Where was that his role? Why was that a good idea? That's different from saying he deserved it. No, he should not have been encouraged to go there and participate in that and inject himself in there. It's very different. I feel like you're kind of conflating things, Audrey. And bless your heart. I said impeding, always impeding. All right, let me reset it to last week in case you missed this gem from President Trump in Davos. You know, the thing that I brought up on the show yesterday, last week, was that America has been invaded. This is a military operation. Emerging from an illegitimate insurrectionist coup that happened several years ago in 2020. You remember the time. So to remove the people that the illegitimate government brought in, strategically prepositioned. This is a military operation for a commander-in-chief. This is self-defense. This is repelling an invading force. That's what this is. Military-aged men, prepositioned in blue cities across America. So President Trump was in Davos, and he said this. I want you to frame this properly in the context of finding out that Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, Jacob Frey, etc. have been money laundering billions of dollars away from autistic Americans, hungry Americans, single mothers, children in need. But if you're a pirate, you don't give a shit. You just want to take. You take everything that you can. President Trump said this on the global stage. Did he mean to say this? Did this slip out? I find it hard to believe the president just says anything accidentally, almost like most of the stuff. There's an intention behind it. Take a listen.
It's a war that should have never started, and it wouldn't have started if the 2020 U.S. presidential election weren't rigged. It was
I believe he's talking about Ukraine, Russia.
Rigged. It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election. Can't have rigged elections. You need strong borders, strong elections, and ideally a good press.
Strong borders. Can't have a nation without borders.
Elections. You need strong borders, strong elections, and ideally a good press. I always say it. Strong borders, strong elections, free, fair elections, and a fair media. The media is terrible. It's very crooked. It's very biased, terrible.
I actually don't think this is the quote I was looking for. He tells him that it was rigged and people will be prosecuted for it soon. Right, but he didn't say that in this clip. See if I can find it. Trump, Davos, prosecuted, rigged election. Let's see if I can find this. How long is that? 37. Okay, I think this is the part that I was trying to play there. Tied to Minneapolis and the Democrat plan. Their plan, it's just coordinated criminal activity.
It's a war that should have never started, and it wouldn't have started if the 2020 U.S. presidential election weren't rigged. It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election. Can't have rigged elections. It's a
Actually, did I skip over that? Did my brain not hear that? I feel like my brain might not have heard the beginning of that.
That should have never started, and it wouldn't have started if the 2020 U.S. presidential election weren't rigged. It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election.
People will be prosecuted.
Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be.
All right. My brain must have went elsewhere checking out comments. I thought I would have heard that, and it went right past me. How soon are people going to be prosecuted for what they did? How damn soon is it going to happen? Yeah, I must have had a brain moment, a not so brainy moment. All right, Audrey. Some conservatives have been tricked into believing that being in a Signal group chat is now grounds for execution. If the guy was getting arrested, why didn't he put his hands behind his back? Why was he fighting? Why in the frame by frame did he reach for his holster? Or not. You can look at that video and frame by frame, meticulously look at it. 72-hour rule. I don't know. I have so much Minnesota fatigue. I watched a little bit. Oh. I've heard there was an accidental discharge. Maybe that happened. Maybe it didn't. I've heard that he was reaching for his holster, that the weapon had been taken from him previously and he reached for it. And people had already alerted that there was a gun, and he was reaching. That's when the shots came out. Maybe that's the case. Maybe not. Hagsa's famous Signal group chat. The people in the, what do you even call it? Minneapolis Signal chat? This is coordinated insurrection. So they're all a part of it. All right, Marion heard it the first time. All right. All right, what's this? Yes, the core claims in the post substantially true. Original post retweeted by American media, American_media_. Perceived hypocrisy in media and public outrage over recent ICE-involved shootings, especially in Minneapolis, Minnesota, compared to similar or larger scale incidents during the Obama era that received far less sustained national attention or protest. Recent ICE shootings in 26, implied recent as in current events under the second term of Trump. True, multiple credible reports document fatal ICE-involved shootings in Minneapolis. Renee Good, Alex Preddy. Protest. Calls for ICE to pause or leave Minnesota operations. So what, just we have no border? We have no border control now? Because somebody got shot. That's not how this works. You're just going to get more people in the insurrection. And you got Tom Homan coming now. So you thought this was going to, we got him. We got somebody to sacrifice themselves. Is that really? Okay. There were over 50 documented ICE-involved shootings from 2015 to 2021 under Obama and Trump's first term, with no agents indicted. True. Investigative reporting, recaps by Fox, cite public records showing 59 ICE shooting investigations. During that period, 0 indictments of agents. Various settings, parking lots, intersections, vehicles, similar to 26 incidents. At least 50 deaths in ICE detention during Obama's presidency. True. ACLU-linked reports, Human Rights Watch, 56 deaths, ICE custody 09 to 17. These are often attributed to inadequate medical care, not shootings. The figure aligns closely with at least 50. Broader implication of hypocrisy and selective outrage. This is subjective, but factually grounded in the contrast. Obama-era scale of millions of deportations, including many expedited removals without hearings, plus the 56 in custody deaths and 59 shootings with no prosecutions, drew criticism from advocacy groups, but far less widespread public protests sustained media framing as a crisis or high-profile political condemnations compared to the current 2026 events in places like Minnesota, where Tim Walz and others publicly demand changes and resignations. In short, the numerical and historical claims check out against reliable sources. The why the difference now angle is opinion driven, often tied to political context, rhetoric, and enforcement style, but the factual disparity in scale and accountability holds up. Current events remain under investigation, so details are out there. Vince Langman says legacy media will never show you this angle of Alex Preddy reaching for his loaded handgun before an ICE agent shot him in self-defense. Pass it on. Do you agree or disagree with that analysis? I don't know. Let's put it up here on the big screen for you. Oh, yeah, 222. There you go. That's a God wink. Accidental discharge can lead to child support. Whoa! You're not wrong about that. All right, let's go as big a screen as we can make it. Let me put the TNAM graphic up on the screen. There we go. So the guy's on the ground. That's his thigh. That's his knees down on the ground. Now that guy's reaching right there. I don't know. I can't really tell what. I don't know. There's another one that I don't know. MJ Truth Ultra, the video is circulating. People saying ICE agent disarmed the suspect a second prior to the shot. Not 100% sure, but it doesn't look like the weapon. It's easy to criticize ICE from the comfort of your couch with infinite slow motion playback, but I'm sorry to tell you, law enforcement doesn't have NFL replay. They have to make split-second decisions, in this case, surrounded by lunatics with whistles and loaded weapons. These dumbass paid protesters I have no sympathy for, says MJ Truth Ultra. They're intentionally creating so many high-tension scenarios every second of every day in order to create moments like this. Why fight and violently resist law enforcement with a loaded weapon on you? You're just decayed. So right there, it shows this guy with an empty hand. Let me full screen this. I'm not going to... Well, anyway. Empty hand. Okay. This guy's swinging at him right here. Bang, bang, bang. We got gun in hand. He's got that. I don't know. It's just hard to make sense of. There's the weapon. I don't know. I don't know what to glean. Wall Street Ape says white liberal women are so hopelessly brainwashed. I don't think there's any coming back for them. She has thoughts here. Who's this lady? I don't have her name. What's her?
So Democrats, Republicans. I think I know how this is going to go. Like, you're going to call Kristi Noem to the Senate. We're going to ask her about this. She's going to evade all your questions, and she's going to leave. My question is, can we do it differently this time? This is what I'm proposing. Arrest her. Put her in handcuffs and detain her as an enemy of the state. Detain her the way that Trump seems to use all of that.
Uh-huh. You want to tell me more about how you framed President Trump multiple times and tried to throw him in a cage for years because you couldn't beat him? Who is this lady? Why can't we get her name? She's a representative.
arrest her, put her in handcuffs, and detain her as an enemy of the state. Detain her the way that Trump seems to use all of that legality
All of that legality. What are you talking
for
about?
his side. Just do the same. Why are we playing with the same rules? Arrest her. Why is this so complicated? Put the bitch in handcuffs and say she's an enemy and domestic terrorist.
The Democrats are domestic terrorists to the United States. They're pushing for insurrection and chaos, for a civil war. This is what they want, and they won't stop pushing for it.
Switch it around. It's not that complicated. Call her to Senate, arrest her.
Okay. Don't vote Democrat. Wall Street Ape says, white liberal women are so hopelessly brainwashed, I don't think there's coming back for them. And there you have it. Here is Kristi Noem responding to things.
And I want to switch gears to the other big story that you were right in the middle of. Federal officers have their hands full in Minnesota right now. One officer had his finger bitten clean off by an agitator yesterday. There's some pretty...
Got to show the pictures. You're out there with rabid dogs biting fingers off of ICE agents. They're biting the fingers off of ICE agents.
troubling photos of that online if anybody wants to look.
You better show it.
Have you heard from any of
It's gruesome. Make me find it.
the Democratic leadership in Minnesota about that? Tim Walz, Jacob Frey.
No, they haven't expressed any concern for injuries to our officers, and that's been going on for weeks. These are not just agitators anymore, they're violent protests. In fact, the state and the city of Minneapolis abandoned this area in downtown Minneapolis because they couldn't control the situation by the amount of people that have come in just trying to disrupt and impede law enforcement operations. And, you know, frankly, this didn't turn violent until we uncovered the fraud in Minneapolis. We were there, ICE and CBP have been there and operating for years in Minneapolis. We saw the violence start to happen when the fraud became uncovered of the billions of dollars that was stolen from American taxpayers under the leadership of Governor Walz and Mayor Frey.
Yeah. David, at this point, something has to take control because things are out of control. They're eating the fingers. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. I'm going to show you. So look away. If you don't want to be grossed out. Here it is. Here we are. So these two Minnesota rioters who bit off an agent's finger. They're animals for real. Was this really them? Is that a guy? What is that? What kind of haircut is that? Hi, Nam. You coming back up? Got your breakfast? Meow. All right, well, here it is. ICE agent got his finger bit off by a rioter. Oh, Michael saying hopefully they got it on ice fast. Too soon? Look at that. Ready to be grossed out? Don't make me leave this up here for too long, Nimbus. That's the finger. It reminds me of Big Lebowski with the toe. They're nihilists, dude. They don't believe in anything. Rabid animals. Wonderful. Biting fingers off of ICE agents. I should share you this again, this hero. I'll share this as our moment of Zen. I think I played this on Friday's show, so we'll save it. Okay, here's a bombshell. MAGA storm. Housing Secretary Scott Turner confirms Democrats were using your tax dollars to bankroll housing for illegal aliens. Listen to this. You tell me that ICE shouldn't remove every single illegal alien invader.
We eliminated non-permanent residence eligibility for FHA insured mortgages. And we are auditing public housing authorities to ensure taxpayer dollars don't support illegal aliens. American dollars should benefit American citizens and American citizens only. By focusing on our core mission, HUD provided a pathway for home ownership and supported housing affordability for more than 1 million Americans through FHA and Ginnie Mae. We also take stewardship very seriously, so we're cracking down on waste and fraud and abuse. Our Office of the Chief Financial Officer uncovered more than $5 billion in potential payment errors, over $50 billion in total rental assistance for the fiscal year 2024. And that includes money that went to nearly 30,000 dead people. That is ludicrous. It's ridiculous to even think or talk in such a way. It's a violation of our sacred trust to American taxpayers, and it has to end, and it will. We eliminated non-permanent.
$5 billion in payment errors. Housing Secretary Scott Turner. 30,000 dead people. Government-backed home loans for non-citizens. You got to be kidding me. So, hey, if you go to the emergency room to get your finger put back on, meet Eric Martindale, says Libs of TikTok, a registered Florida nurse. He says he won't give anesthesia for Republicans undergoing surgery and believes that that's his right and that it's ethical. I will not perform anesthesia for any surgeries or procedures for MAGA. It is my right. It is my ethical oath, and I stand behind my education. I own all of my businesses, and I can refuse anyone. You see this? Probably be a pretty smart idea to look up the people who are your nurses, who are your doctors. They're sadistic people. Like Eric Martindale, who posted this. Allegedly, if this is him. Oh, I'll share the link where you can file a complaint if you want to go on there. Was this Eric is now playing the I was hacked card? Huh. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, but it was on Threads, too. Okay. What, Nimbus? You have a sketch you needed itched? Itch you need sketched? All right, you good? Yeah, or you could put them under and they'll never wake up. Yeah, like Joan Rivers. If you know, you know. Big Mike. All right. Larry Fink of BlackRock now says this.
Growth. You know, we always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. But in my conversations with the leadership of these large developed countries that have xenophobic immigration policies, they don't allow anybody to come in, shrinking unemployment, shrinking demographics, these countries will rapidly develop robotics and AI and technology. And if the promise, I didn't say it's going to happen, but if the promise of all that transforms productivity, which most of us think it will, we'll be able to elevate the standard of living of countries and the standard of living of individuals, even with shrinking populations. And so the paradigm of negative population growth is going to be changing. And the social problems that one will have in substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations. You know, we always use
the Yuri Bezmenov's ghost. Says Larry Fink of BlackRock now says countries that avoided mass immigration will be better positioned for the future. Mass immigration was always a scam to destabilize the West. It's why China admits almost zero refugees. Elon says that's accurate. A lot of eyes on John Thune. He said he'll work every day to advance President Trump's agenda, but he's delivered nothing. He's stalling. He hasn't nuked the filibuster, and he hasn't passed the SAVE Act. John Thune, all eyes on John Thune, Senate Majority Leader. Republic Heritage says, I was upset when he was chosen, and I knew he'd be an enemy of the right. Tim Waltz tells people to stop referring to ICE as law enforcement. He wants to make rioters believe they have no authority and thus should be attacked. He's directly inciting violence, anything to cover for massive fraud.
Made this request before. Is there any reason to believe that it will be answered differently? Have you had any conversations with the president, with the federal government, and is there any indication that they are going to pull out or back down?
Well, I spoke twice this morning, shortly after I received the call of this shooting. I spoke with the President's Chief of Staff, and first request was to get her people out of there, to get these federal agents out of there. They were going to cause more chaos. And second call is with no one.
By the way, enjoy this lady here. We made a TNAM short of her.
Certain terms that we will investigate this. We will not be stonewalled. What we've already seen, and you saw it this morning, before any investigation is done, you have the most powerful people in the federal government spinning stories and putting up pictures and unrelated people who we don't know anything about, and a picture of a firearm to try and spin a narrative. And I ask Americans, this will end when enough Americans say this will end. Do I have any?
So what is their end game? I keep asking. This will end when enough Americans say this will end. What is he talking about? That we're going to cede our borders and the people that broke in just get to stay? Look at these two dopes here. Look at these two dopes. Look at the face she's making. Look at the hand gesture. Every time I pause it. Oh, this should be a skit right here. Oh, this is too good. Anytime you pause it, she's got magic fingers. Look at swoosh. She's got like a peacock full of feathers or her fingers. His hands are up like that.
People who we don't.
Very performative. She's always making a face like. These two are perfect for each other.
Anything about a picture of a firearm to try and spin a narrative. And I ask Americans, this will end when enough Americans say this will end.
He's telling people that if you can get enough Americans to stop ICE, that America will no longer have borders, and the people that snuck in, they just get to stay because you win, and you're going to get fake votes on your next census for the House of Representatives to represent us in Congress, to overthrow the American agenda with 40 million illegal alien invaders voting Democrat because you're giving them kickbacks from the money you stole from us in taxes. Fuck you, Tim Walz. No, it does not end when you say it's going to end, when enough Americans are going to be okay with our country being invaded. It's an act of war to lift up the razor wire so 40 million illegal alien invaders can swarm into this country, eat us out of house and home like a swarm of locusts. Are you comparing illegal alien invaders to locusts? I don't know. Are they consuming resources at an insatiable rate? How many billions have been stolen in Minneapolis, let alone all the other cities? What about that bullet train to nowhere in California? We haven't gotten into California and New York yet. This stuff is rampant. You want to find out how we got to $38 trillion on a credit card? Look at the Democrats and what they've been doing. Look at it. That's not to say that the rhinos are not complicit, because I'm sure there are plenty. Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, Mitt Romney. No thank you to you guys. So I think that they think their end game is if they can get enough of their people K'd so it can look bad, that ICE will disappear and those 40 million potential voters get to stay, get to keep consuming our dollars. No, Tim Waltz, that's not how this works.
Do I have any confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing?
You asshole. This is about you and Jacob Frey. Telling them, get out there and record them. We're going to indict these people. Why don't you let them do their jobs? Why don't you turn over the criminal illegal aliens out of the jail cells and just work with them? It's saying it's about Donald Trump. It's about you. It's about your Democrats.
And I ask Americans, this will end when enough Americans say this will end. Do I have any confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing? No, I don't have a lot of confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing. I do have a lot of confidence that the majority of the American people will do the right thing. And I think there cannot be very many people across this country looking right now, after all the reporting that's been done, after everything that's been said, under the pretense that they are here about immigration reform.
Saying they're at a pretense. They're not really here for the millions of people that snuck in. It's a pretense for what? If they're not here for immigration violations, then what are they here for? Tim Walz. Can you believe they put him up to be number 2 in the Democrat side?
And quit referring to these people as law enforcement.
No, we're not going to start or stop referring to them as law enforcement. We will not.
They are not law enforcement.
Yes, they are. What the hell is wrong with you? You are lying to your supporters and you're getting them K'd. Tim Walz. And then you have the gall to talk to that family and try to show compassion. It's your bullshit egging them on that led to these situations. I was going to say nobody asked them to intervene with law enforcement. You did. Yeah, you did. Then you have the gall to pretend that you weren't the one that caused it. Unacceptable.
We have law enforcement.
Do you have law enforcement? Because you're encouraging people to go out there and bite their fingers off.
Who do an incredible job. And to listen to Greg Bovino denigrate the work of our people who are out there cleaning up their mess.
What an asshole. ICE is cleaning up the Democrats' mess. Somebody let 40 million illegal alien invaders into the country. And it wasn't Greg Bovino, you fucking asshole. God, I hate Tim Walz.
We have law enforcement who do an incredible job. And to listen to Greg Bovino denigrate the work of our people who are out there cleaning up their mess. No, I don't have a lot of confidence that he himself will do it. But here's what I do have confidence in. There's a whole lot of Republicans, for whatever reason, cannot find their spine.
Cannot find their spine. Can they find their spine?
A whole lot of Republicans, for whatever reason, cannot find their spine.
Find their spine.
A whole lot of Republicans, for whatever reason, cannot find their spine. But they might find the ability to know that they're not going to win another election as long as they live unless they stand up for what's right and stand up for the rule of law and stand up for human decency, and that's the moment.
Stand up for ICE removing the illegal alien invaders. They all have the CBP home app. You've all got the message. You got to go. If you're overstaying your hangout in America, that's on you. That's not on Greg Bovino. That's what your Democrats did, pal. Obey the law already. Exactly, Marion. Ugh. Check this. Oh, yeah. Patriot Warrior Texas shared this from justice.gov. Can you see it? Yes. Executive director of South LA-based charity has been arrested on federal complaint alleging $23 million swindle of homelessness funds. Waste, fraud, and abuse is everywhere. We taxpayers are being raked over the coals, says John. And we said there's got to be a special place in hell for the people who steal from the homeless. Whether you're a Somali pirate or a Democrat dirtbag, you don't fake autism centers to steal money from needy families needing help with autistic family members. You don't steal from the homeless. Unreal. Here we go. We had our regular troll who comes in here to... By the way, if you're enjoying the shaking of my screen, that's because Nimbus is nuzzling himself. He's Going like this, going like that. Putting his scent on the computer right now. Shaking it. Quite a bit. You better be careful. He's about ready to push this off the desk. Here, let's just watch what he's doing. All right, let's continue going. Nimbus, you don't need to stop. Keep going. Now that people are watching you. There you go. Now you can see him doing it. Mario Knopfel says a leaked signal chat links Tim Walz staffer and Democrat politicians to anti-ICE protests. The private signal group is used by Minneapolis protesters to coordinate the anti-ICE actions, share marching orders, and reportedly dox ICE agents. You got to love when they go, I can't believe we have a forces in our streets and they're covering their faces. Can you believe they're covering our faces? You mean so you can't dox and K them? You're sort of proving their point, how rabid you are and demanding that you get to know who they are so you can ruin their lives. It's an odd thing, isn't it? One of the leaders of this signal chat, Amanda Kohler, a protest organizer and former campaign strategist for none other than Tim Walz. Tim Walz has the gall to talk to that family, acting like he's sympathetic. You're the one that encouraged him to go out there and insert himself into federal law enforcement when he had no business being there. Tim Walz, this shame is on you. Shame on you. Also named, local politician David Snyder, listed as an admin, and Minnesota State Senate candidate Anita Smithson, listed as a dispatcher. Source is Insider Wire. What is this? Waxiest's own camera?
No? Like, I'm just trying to stream. I got these guys fucking with my fucking shit.
Shows the moment BLM guys jumped him and sucker punched him in Minneapolis.
Oh, okay. All right, what's good? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you just gotta punch me in my car. Let me out, bitch. Let me out. Fight fair, motherfucker. Get out the car, nigga. Yeah, let me out, motherfucker. Bitch is hurt, right? Them bitches hurt, right? Yeah, let me. Get out the car. You gotta get out the fucking car. You just gotta sucker.
Dude needs to have some protection on him right here. You got every right.
Punch me, motherfucker. Get out the car, nigga. All right, move back. You told me to pull up. Yeah, I did. What's up? No, bitch. Hey. Get your bitch ass up. Yeah.
Here we go. It's a shot artist, man. Like college terrorist thug.
Hey, let him go. Let him go. Let him go, bitch. Let him go. Let him go. Stop going. He's hurt. Yeah, you guys are just bro. Hey. Okay. Absolutely something. That was way too far. Don't scream at the sound. Don't scream at the sound. You guys are talking smart. Hell yeah. Super tough.
Super tough. Super tough, bro. Still got all my teeth, I think. Come up and sucker punch me, bro. That's super tough. Super tough, man. Punch me. Oh my God, dude.
Damn. Oh, they had the other footage. 2-on-1, jumped him. In there.
Get out! Get out!
They sucker punch him, but one of them got beat instead and ran off. Kick banned all three. Kick banned the dude who got
worried about another streamer's chat then getting a job. Ass losers.
Get out! Get out! Who's dropping the N-bombs over here? Oh, it's the terrorist.
Kraken Pipe says, Waxy made your broke ass.
Get out the car. Come on. Get out the car.
Get out! Hey, it's one-on-one. Get out!
Someone's chat
Get out!
is a legal crime.
You told me to pull up. What you got in your hand?
Hellerus says, welfare pays $30 per hour. Doug Stanhope says, scared to show face. Kraken Pipe says, dance monkey ill buy you a banana, broke ass chimp. 6.
We got these comments. I don't know what's going on, what they're reading.
Million wasn't enough says, who's the pavement ape with you? No Topston says, we got it already.
Hey, fuck dude. Hey, let him go. Let him go. Let him go, bitch. Let him go.
$30 is literally nothing today.
Touch me, I'll pop your ass.
Yeah, you guys. Kikikrzy says, Waxy, just sit and stay listen to your owner.
Hey, your favorite streamer. Your
So that's happening. What is this footage? Nawful ICE agents shooting Alex Preddy in Minneapolis. Agents pepper spray him as he films and steps in to help a woman who... Why are these all stopping once I play them? I don't know why they're doing that.
Whoa!
Listen to all these whistles. This is so stupid.
Holy shit! Oh my god! Oh!
Yeah, what do you expect's gonna happen?
Holy shit! Oh my god!
Yeah. All unnecessary. Damn. All right. Well, there's a new version of this post. I can't share this post. All right. Okay. Anyway, that was all from Andrew says, is there anything in the Walt's background to suggest that he has ties to communists? For example, has he ever honeymooned in China? Did he take 10 or more trips to China? Good point. New York Post says, ex-Vikings captain says Minnesota Democrats hate ICE because we're deporting their voters. Who is this guy? Whoop, where's the story? It's going to bounce me to another article here, and it says, what's this captain? What's his name? Jack Brewer, Vikings captain, protecting illegal migrant thugs in the cities. There's something wrong in Minneapolis. We need a citywide behavioral health assessment. People have completely lost reality. The former Golden Gophers defensive back told Fox News Digital. I hope President Trump sends in the National Guard. Oh, pop-up ads. Gross. We need curfews, real consequences for attacking law enforcement. These men and women should be able to do their jobs and go home to their families safely amid ongoing violent demonstrations in Minneapolis. We're deporting their voters. That's part of what's happening, and it's blowing up their whole plan, said Brewer, who had spells as a safety with the Giants, Eagles, and Cardinals, as well as the Vikings in the NFL between 2002 and 2006. You can't allow people to come into your country who don't carry the same morals and values that you do. That's what's happening. Brewer visited Guatemala in February 25 to meet illegal migrant families deported from the U.S. He claimed people from third world countries don't have American values, and when they come to the U.S., they bring cultures like that with them. Minneapolis is protecting these thugs. It's unbelievable. These people are demonic. I've done work in third world countries for 25 years. The values are not the same, Brewer said. You cannot let people come into the U.S. from cultures like that because they bring their cultures with them. Attacking Jacob Frey. I wish I could lock the doors on that city and not let him back in if I had the power. What Jacob Frey has done is absolutely ridiculous. He tap dances for Somalis. He does anything to go against the culture of America and Christianity for them, said Brewer, who began his career at Southern Methodist University, freshman All-American candidate. All right. There you have it. That guy. This woman has been charged with 1 count of terroristic threats. West Virginia librarian Morgan Morrow arrested following our reporting of her post appearing to recruit individuals to, let's see, well, take out Trump. Where's the... Yeah, recruiting people to take out Trump. Arrested.
But you can't say that. You can. I did. People going, you can't say that. You can.
People saying you can't say that. Oh, yeah, you can. The quote says, surely a snipper with a terminal illness can't be a big ask out of 343 million. Saying someone who has a terminal illness, why don't you just become a sniper and take out President Trump is what she was saying. And she's been arrested for it. Good for her. Good for her getting arrested. And what do you know? A librarian, someone else in our education system. Jackson County Public Library. I mean, that's a form of education system, I would imagine, right? I think this is a different quote from Anna Paulina Luna.
Bills have to come back to the House. And so I've actually formed an alliance with a handful of other Republican members that will refuse to vote on any legislation to send it over to the Senate unless there's something specifically placed in it in something called a rule that would prevent the Senate from stripping out the SAVE Act. So it would force them, if they choose to shut down the government, when they choose to reopen it, they will have to also then to simultaneously vote on the SAVE Act, which would basically save our country with election integrity. So we can play this game of chicken, but I do have a handful of Republicans that will stand with me very strong and ensure that this is done on behalf of the American people. So we're here to deliver.
Good. Happy to hear it. This is where Officer Lou says St. Paul police literally turned around and drove off, letting an anti-ICE mob storm a Hilton where ICE agents were believed to be staying. Law enforcement stands down while the chaos unfolds. Ladies and gentlemen, only in Democrat-led cities will you see this. I'm not sure if this is what we are watching and if the time frame is right, but take a look. Been coming down. And they just take down a random pizza. You can hear all the chaos right here, allegedly at the hotel. Which is why this is getting out of control and why it's getting so violent. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche says Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has been actively encouraging ICE riots for weeks and directing people to dial 911 whenever they see an ICE officer. Take a listen.
Any federal officer, which saying that as if it's an announcement, a proclamation, is also crazy. Because if I told you, hey, listen, you cannot get in a cop's way while they're doing their job, you would say, no kidding. Right. That's not actually that complicated of a concept. But the fact that we have we have mayors, we have governors, we have local leaders encouraging that and still having it's like they're trying to gaslight us, right? They're trying to gaslight us, saying they're just protesting. The Governor Walz yesterday finally said he only wanted peaceful protests after weeks and weeks of encouraging protesters, really rioters, to do exactly what they're doing, to call 911 when they see an ICE officer. Right. Imagine if you, in your community, if 911 was used to call and declare an emergency because there was a federal officer doing their job. That's what the leadership is doing in Minnesota. You cannot impede ICE. You cannot impede any federal officer, which saying that as if it's an announcement, a proclamation.
Yeah. Kind of madness. While the entire country focused on Minneapolis for the next 48 hours, Democrats in Virginia passed a bill out of committee that allows government bureaucrats to receive unlimited taxpayer funding to buy a house. Housing for local employees, grants for home ownerships. Unlimited funding for housing. Interesting. Buck Sexton says, sabotage operations, not protest. What's going on in Minneapolis is a highly coordinated, funded subversion campaign intended to cause casualties and break federal law enforcement. Sabotage operations. Call them what they are. Sabotage operations. Zero Hour One says this is a Democrat rioter assaulting an ICE federal agent, throwing a heavy object at him. Take a look.
Get back!
Here. Square brick or object.
Get back!
It says, I'm aware of the transgender who threw the concrete block last night. We are looking. They will be in that protest yesterday in a better angle. That person right there. I don't know if they're transgender. The crime rates, are things better or worse? Well, if you watch legacy media, all you hear is hysteria if it harms Trump. But what's the reality?
In other cities and states across the country, we don't see this happen. Local, state, and officials work with us to make sure that we're making their streets safer. I'll point to the city of Memphis, which is where there is a Democrat mayor in place. He worked with us and our federal law enforcement officers, and we saw murder rates drop by 50% because of that partnership. We've seen historic lows in the criminal acts that have happened in that city. We've had the same amount of law enforcement officers there, but a very different result because of the leadership in place. Last week, ICE did over. In other cities and states across the country, we don't see this happen. Local, state, and officials work with us to make sure that we're making their streets safer.
Yeah. Reverend Jordan Wells says, Memphis just proved it. When law enforcement actually enforces the law, crime crashes. Murder rates dropped nearly 50% thanks to real partnership between local cops and feds. Loud leftist minority can scream all they want. Real Memphians? They're loving the return of safety and order to their streets. Criminals don't run this city anymore. We do. Democrats refuse to admit the obvious. Nationwide crime is plummeting because tens, if not hundreds of thousands of illegal criminal aliens have finally been removed. No more excuses, no more chaos. Order is back. And we're liking it that way. Yeah, this signal chat's a big deal. This is an organized domestic terrorist campaign run by the Democrats. The Democrats are not even a legitimate political party anymore. They're an active criminal campaign. It should be impossible to defend these guys. Yep, two Democrat Minnesota state officials and a campaign advisor to Tim Walz, Amanda Kohler, identified as admins and dispatchers in the Signal group chat used to stalk and impede federal immigration operations in the state. I dare I say they're committing treason. Tyler O'Neill says, horrifying new details. The invasion of City's church was even worse than we thought. Agitators blocked the stairs in Minneapolis, so parents were unable to get to their children at Sunday school. One told a kid, do you know your parents are Nazis? They're going to burn in hell. Yeah, throw the book at the church terrorists in Minneapolis. Laura Loomer says, hey, remember there were zero protests for Justine Damond in Minnesota when a dirty DEI hire, Muslim Somali cop named Mohammed Noor, murdered her in her car. She called 911 to report screams she heard from the alley behind her house. She was murdered in cold blood in her pajamas by a Muslim cop who didn't even know how to read. Zero protests. Democrats helped him get nearly no time in prison, less than 5 years, because he's a Muslim. Most people don't know the name Justine Damond. I don't know if he didn't know how to read. I don't know if he got less than 5 years because he's a Muslim. But that case is gross, and you don't know about it. You don't know about it the way you hear about some of these other stories, which is kind of weird. Data Republican says, take a look, and OMG, 184 NPIs at 264 Nicolette. That's just a healthcare providers. That's just healthcare providers, not including childcare. None of them are on an exclusion list. So I don't think people fully appreciate what's being exposed here by Data Republican. Anytime there's an incident in Minneapolis, you could pull the addresses on the block and you'll literally find them full of fraudulent, air quote, businesses, from healthcare to daycare to NGO and other nonprofits. The entire ecosystem of Minneapolis is dependent on government money at the least, but likely fraudulent government money more likely. Is this why they're screaming so loud in Minneapolis? Maybe it is. Because they're exposed and Minneapolis is about to fall. The commies are about to lose their grip on the captured city of Minneapolis and the captured state of Minnesota. Here's Vice President J.D. Vance.
When I was actually walking out here, somebody sent me a photo of a CNN headline about what happened in Minneapolis. And this is the headline. I'm just going to read it. Outrage after ICE officer kills U.S. citizen in Minneapolis. Well, that's one way to put it, and that is the way that many people in the corporate media have put this attack over the last 24 hours. And I say attack very, very intentionally, because this was an attack on federal law enforcement. This was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people. The way that the media, by and large, has reported this story has been an absolute disgrace, and it puts our law enforcement officers at risk every single day. What that headline leaves out is the fact that that very ICE officer nearly had his life ended, dragged by a car 6 months ago, 33 stitches in his leg. So you think maybe he's a little bit sensitive about somebody ramming him with an automobile? What that headline leaves out is that that woman was there to interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation in the United States of America. What that headline leaves out is that that woman is part of a broader left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault, and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their job. If the media wants to tell the truth, they ought to tell the truth that a group of left-wing radicals have been working tirelessly, sometimes using domestic terror techniques to try to make it impossible for the President of the United States to do what the American people elected him to do, which is enforce our immigration laws. The President stands with ICE. I stand with ICE. We stand with all of our law enforcement officers. And part of that is recognizing that you people in the media, not everybody in this room, but many people in this room have been lying about this attack. She was trying to ram this guy with her car. He shot back. He defended himself. He's already been seriously wounded in law enforcement operations before, and everybody who's been repeating the lie that this is some innocent woman who was out for a drive in Minneapolis when a law enforcement officer shot at her, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Every single one of you. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Vice.
So, of course, that's about the Renee Good shoot. But I mean, come on. The fatigue on this story, I've sort of reached a new level of it. It's not to say it's not important. It's not to say this or that. It's just another day, another Minneapolis thing. AG says anti-ICE protesters are now blocking ambulances trying to get to people having a possible heart attack. That's after vandalizing a hotel because they suspected ICE agents were staying there. Local police nowhere to be found. Engine 19 being delayed by protesters on University Avenue Southeast while trying to get to a medical patient with chest pain on Malcolm Avenue Southeast. Protesters, rioters are on site, actively vandalizing and breaking windows at a hotel. Yeah, what are you waiting on with the Insurrection Act? And by the way, if you want to look back at Hillary Clinton and the Democrat position on immigration before they realized nobody in America likes them and that they'll never have a chance to have any political power unless they import people and that they are able to convert them into votes, that's the claim.
As we're seeing these thousands of children come across, shunted off into makeshift shelters.
It's horrible.
Hard choice. Let them stay in the United States or send them back.
Well,
2014.
2 quick points. One, the numbers are increasing dramatically. And
they're increasing because it's a plan.
Main reason I believe why that's happening is that the violence in certain of those Central American countries is increasing dramatically. And there is not sufficient law enforcement or will on the part of the governments of those countries to try to deal with this exponential increase in violence, drug trafficking, the drug cartels. And many children are fleeing from that violence.
Should they be able to stay here? It's safer.
It may be safer, but that's not the answer. I do not.
Should they be sent back?
Well, first of all, we have to provide the best emergency care we can provide. We have children 5 and 6 years old who have come up from Central America. We need to do more to provide border security in southern Mexico.
They should be sent back now.
Well, they should be sent back as soon as it can be determined who responsible adults and their families are, because there are concerns about whether all of them can be sent back. But I think all of them who can be should be reunited with their families. And just as Vice President Biden is arguing today in Central America, we've got to do more. I started this when I was secretary, to deal with the violence in this region, to deal with border security. But we have to send a clear message. Just because your child gets across the border, that doesn't mean the child gets to stay. So we don't want to send a message that is contrary to our laws or will encourage more children to make that dangerous journey.
My, oh my, have things changed. Such a drastic change. What is it that changed? All right, this is the clip I think I wanted to show with you. Not the magazine, but the clip. Where's the share this tab instead? Right Angle Newsworks shared this. Right Angle News Network shared this. Breaking, stabilized video of the shooting of Alex Preddy appears to confirm that while CBP may have disarmed him, he still reaches for his holster area and pulls out what appears to be the secondary magazine that he brought with him. All right, so showing it here on the side, he reaches and pulls it out. The holster and pulls something out. Was that the phone he was carrying, or was that the magazine that he grabbed? I don't know. Lander says, I slowed it down. In the huddle, one or more ICE officers shouts gun. This caused another officer to draw his sidearm. Another officer removed the man's sidearm, then walked away, but it was discharged negligently. See for yourself. The SIG P320 is notorious for negligent discharging, but typically only when dropped. That then triggered the other agents to think that the man on the ground, Alex Preddy, had begun shooting, so they neutralized the perceived threat. If this is what happened, it's an incredibly unfortunate accident that happened in Minneapolis. So they disarmed him and took it away, and it went off, and then they heard the gun after being told gun, 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 so they just started shooting. You're saying right there that it's already that it does discharge? Does it jump? Slide is visibly to the rear in this frame. All right. So that's sort of what I wanted to show for you. Okay. Do I have anything else? At the church, here. At the church terrorist attack.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street, you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry. And if you remember what the civil rights movement was about, the civil rights movement was about these very kinds of protests. There's nothing in the Constitution that tells you what time you can protest. You can protest at any time. That's the whole point of it, is to disrupt, it's to make uncomfortable. And that's what they're doing. And that's what I believe when I say everyone has to be willing to sacrifice something. You have to make people uncomfortable in these times. If you see how uncomfortable people uncomfortably, this is a beginning.
The agitators were blocking the stairs. The parents were unable to get to their children. The agitators screamed in the faces of young children while they were crying. Fuck those people. Daddy, I thought you were going to die. One child panicked. That is just vile. All right. President Trump says, I'm sending Tom Homan to Minnesota tonight. He has not been involved in that area, but he knows and likes many of the people there. Tom is tough but fair and will report directly to me. Separately, a major investigation is going on for the $20 billion plus welfare fraud. And they're looking at Ilhan Omar, $44 million. This is the razor wire. Democrats did this every day for 4 years. Then, after losing an election, launched an armed resistance to stop the federal government from reversing the invasion. And wokeness says none of this would be happening with ICE right now if the prior administration didn't facilitate this invasion. 40 million illegal alien invaders in 4 years. Look at this. You want to know why ICE see what they did? No idea who any of these people are. No idea where they came from. No idea what their intentions are. That's why lifting razor wire to let God knows who from God knows where with God knows what intention. JD Vance says, when I was in Minneapolis, I heard a number of crazy stories, but near the top of the list, a couple of off-duty ICE and CBP officers going to dinner in Minneapolis. They were doxxed and their location revealed. Restaurant was then mobbed. The officers were locked in the restaurant. Local police refused to respond to their pleas for help as they'd been directed by local authorities. Eventually, their fellow federal agents came to their aid. This is just a taste of what's happening in Minneapolis because state and local officials refuse to cooperate with immigration enforcement. They have created the chaos so they can have moments like yesterday, where someone tragically dies and politicians get to grandstand about the evils of enforcing the border. The solution is staring everyone in the face. I hope authorities in Minneapolis stop this madness. Nick Frieda says this is always what happens. The left pushes, obstructs, and riots until they get the reaction they want, and then they play the victim and simply ask that we pause. No, not this time. You created these conditions. You relent. You pause. You stop what you're doing. Sounds fair to me. Here's Todd Blanche exposing the truth of Minneapolis.
In one city, we have this outrage and this powder cake happening, and it's not right, and it doesn't happen anywhere else, and it's simply because of one reason, and that's leadership in that state. When there was all the focus on the billions and billions of dollars in fraud happening in Minneapolis, suddenly Minneapolis becomes a powder cake. And the people that caused that to happen were the governor, the mayor, the attorney general, Omar. They're the ones that incited rhetoric, encouraged these rioters to go with their cell phones, not to peacefully protest, but to go out and do exactly what was happening on Saturday morning. And so there was a powder cake, and it was absolutely lit by that leadership.
Deputy Attorney General.
You said in the comments, Thanks, Abbott. But wasn't Abbott trying to stop it? But they actually went up to was it a Supreme Court, or they had to go to it got appealed and then it got reversed. Like they had to allow them to rip open their border. I thought Abbott was putting walls up and putting barricades, and wasn't he doing some good stuff? I don't know. Liz Riston says, it's so sad that they're at hotels trying to get rest. How tragic. ICE didn't bring chaos to your city. Biden, Kamala Harris, and the Democrats did that. ICE is just cleaning up their mess. I've been saying that. Joe says, arrest sanctuary city mayors. Donnie, Wu, Frey, Breed, Bass, Johnson. Ariak says, Democrats are silencing the masses with terror. Their strategy hasn't changed. Remember when the Democrats did that? Because they're the same party. Here is a bloody federal agent at a hotel in Minneapolis. He's saying, where's the local PD? That's my question. Where's the local PD? This is on Jacob Frey and Tim Walz. They're not federalizing the guard.
Is everyone press?
We're all members of the press. We're all pressed here. Okay. This officer appears to be bleeding from the mouth. Oh my God. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Says he's all right. He's all right.
Where's the local PD? That's my question for the press.
Okay. This officer.
Where is the local PD?
Where is the local PD?
What's your message to the local PD, sir?
No.
Okay.
Well, the mayor.
Very chaotic.
Sir, while you're giving messages, what would your message to the protesters that want you out be?
An impromptu press conference with them.
As long as you're getting
No
comment,
comment.
do you have any comment
Please
to the
get
people that want you out?
back up. Please give me some room. Get back.
Betrayed by local PD. One traitor. Violence, 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 violence. Tim Walz saying more Tim Walz stuff.
We have got children in Minnesota hiding in their houses, afraid to go outside.
What children? Are they illegal alien invaders? Were they chain migration children that were brought here and abused by coyotes and cartel members, sold into literal slavery, sex slavery, or something similar for political gain so you could populate your populations, so you could populate the blue cities that hemorrhaged people during the COVID craziness, your tyrannical lockdowns, using the kids as pawns? Tim Walz, you don't give a fuck about these kids. We see through your fucking act.
We have got children in Minnesota hiding in their houses, afraid to go outside. Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota. And there's one person who can end this now.
That's you. Shabos says Anne Frank was first deported to Auschwitz and died of typhus in Bergen-Belsen concentration camp at 15. 1 million Jewish children were killed during the Holocaust. Illegal immigrants are offered thousands of dollars to take a free flight home. Tim Walz is an evil retard. Do you agree or disagree? Just kind of asking for the Insurrection Act. Are you ready? Because rioters are smashing windows, assaulting security guards at this hotel. posted. Where's the Insurrection Act? What are we doing?
You weak bitch! You weak bitch! Let him through! 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 Bitch! Fuck! Go get him! Look at the car! Fuck you! Yeah. Oh yeah! Back up. Oh, back up! Back up!
Have we had enough of this bullshit yet? Maybe. Only 9 counties account for 2/3 of violent confrontations with ICE. Kevin Bass took a look through this. Sanctuary City mayors: Brandon Johnson, Karen Bass, Jacob Frey, Zora Mamdani, Keith Wilson, Daniel Lurie, Kate Wilson, Ross Baraka, Mike Johnson. 63% of all violent confrontations with ICE in 9 counties. Congress launches an investigation into Representative Ilhan Omar's skyrocketing net worth after reports of a 3,500% increase. Huh. Her husband's business partner, William Haler, is back in the spotlight after settling multiple lawsuits over claims of defrauding investors. Are we almost there yet? Are we almost there yet? Former Congressman Jamal Bowman, he's the one that pulled the fire sprinkler alarm, right? The fire alarm? Calls for to shut the whole system down, abolish ICE, and say we need a new America. Wow. Dale Partridge says, I have a friend who lives in Minneapolis. He told me the vast majority of protesters are white liberals, not Muslims, not Hindus, not Hispanics, not blacks, white liberals. They're fighting for foreign illegals who hate them. It is truly suicidal empathy. Yeah, Tim Walt's not just connected to the Somali fraud. He's also connected to the Minneapolis riots. Got it, says Tim Young. There are 42,861 non-governmental organizations and nonprofits handling $120 billion a year in Minnesota. None of these anti-ICE protests are organic. All right. I think that's about all I got for you today. I think I had a story I was going to come back to, but I don't remember what it was. Actually, I think it was at the top of the list. Maybe it was something good. Tell me I got something good to share. Didn't I have something right at the top? If I did, I can't find it. Been a tough day of stories. Yeah, I can't find it. Whatever I said I would get back to. Don't remember what it was. Thank you all for being here. We have Rumble Rants and Super Chats if you enjoyed today's show. We sit out here and play guitar on the street corner. And if you appreciate the show, Rumble Rants and Super Chats, as well as Patreon, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all scrolling at the bottom of the screen. And like I said, thank you to the anonymous donor. Initials MN, coincidentally enough. $100. Appreciate it. It's all needed. It's all needed. Thank you. No instructions. If you were buying merch, you didn't tell me, so I don't know to send it. You didn't give me an address. So I'll just assume somebody liked what we were doing and shot a hundo over. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Be sure to hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with a friend. And we'll be back tomorrow at noon Eastern time. And then we will do Strictly Football tomorrow at 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock Eastern. We'll do Strictly Football. Myself, Azrael Robinson, Jim Mitchell, and Mike Barra on the Unhappy Hour. That's Strictly Football on the Unhappy Hour, brought to you by the New American Media. All right, everybody. I'm glad you survived the snowpocalypse, and I wish you the greatest day. Signing out on behalf of everybody in the TNAM universe. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.